Hi y'all, good morning. I am back home from my South Carolina road trip and fresh off the butt whooping that I took in the South Carolina tournament. Man, I don't want to say things couldn't have went any worse for me over there, because Lord knows they certainly could have. But boy, I took a butt whooping, man, finished next to last place. So I'm back home now. I'm fresh off an illness. I probably still sound all nasally, but we're gonna try to catch us some fish today if I get my words out. And we're gonna try to catch a bunch of them. Anytime I've had a rotten trip, I like to try to follow it up with an ultralight trip just to kind of boost the confidence again, you know, catch some fish, get a bunch of action. So we're gonna start right here on this point. You can see all them rocks up there. This is right here. You got the Emory River that ends here. You got the Clinch River that flows down this way. So we're right here at the confluence of the Clinch River and the Emory River. Now, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I fished out here right after I got home from Louisiana. Had an amazing trip, caught over 100 fish that day. Hoping some of those fish are still here, and I'm hoping that we can actually be able to cast to them. You see all this debris on the water here. It's November, the leaves are coming down heavy. So we may have a little bit of difficulty casting in places as we make our way along, but the plan is today to start here at this rocky point and just work this kind of bluff wall up through here with a jig and Gulp minnow. And I'm gonna put the camera in the chest here and show you. If you're new to my channel or you're new to my ultralight videos, this right here is my favorite ultralight bait in the world. That's a 1-inch Gulp minnow, smelt color, which looks like a tiny threadfin shad, which is the primary forage species out here. I've got that on a 1/64 ounce jig head with a number 8 size hook. We've got 2-pound test line on my ultralight rod. That's a St. Croix Panfish Series rod and a 1,000 size Daiwa reel. So I'm in my Hobie Lynx kayak today. We're gonna be trying out some new gear today. I've got a motor on this kayak now, which I'll be straight up honest with you, I don't like it. So I'm gonna run it in a little while here. I'm gonna show you what I don't like about it for any of you all out there that's maybe considering one of these Texas Power Paddle motors. I'm hopefully gonna save you some money, or at least you know, educate you on making a better decision before you make the purchase. Make sure that the things I don't like about it, maybe if they're gonna bother you too, maybe it'll save you some money. That's what I'm trying to get at, folks. I've got buyer's remorse after buying this motor for this kayak. So anyway, I'm gonna do that. I also have a new fishing rod we're gonna try out at some point today. It's another St. Croix Panfish Series rod, but it is a light action model, and it's new. I don't know when they changed the design. I've had this rod here in my hand. We were talking about it on one of these other ultralight videos recently. I've had it at least 8 years, because that's how long I've been doing ultralight videos on this channel. But I've had it longer than that. So anyway, it's old. But the handle design on the new ones is different. It's plastic now. And I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. So we're gonna try it out today and see what y'all hearing my phone ding. I apologize to you. We gotta keep the phone on today in case of a medical emergency. I'll get into that story. We got a lot to talk about today, folks. We got a lot to cover, but I have to keep my phone on because we may be getting a call at some point out here this morning with some good news, bad news, who knows. So nevertheless, we got the phone on, so you may hear some dinging throughout the morning. Hopefully what we want to hear though, first and foremost, is some drag peeling off this ultralight rod, because I want to catch some fish. And I guess it's been 2 or 3 weeks now. I'd got home from Louisiana and I said, well, I wanna get a trip in this new kayak, this Hobie Lynx, and I want to catch a bunch of fish. So I come out here and I did some ultralight fishing. I typically come down here about once a year and fish this section here where the Emory dumps out into the Clinch. And I always catch fish. But that particular day, I mean, this rocky point was just stacked with fish, man. That we were catching them one after another, after another, after another. And fishing Key Largo, he's one of my regular viewers. He tallies the fish, different species, number of fish, number of casts, number of jigs lost. Man, this guy, he calculates it all. He's like one of them baseball fans that does the box score. Like he's into it, man, and I appreciate the heck out of him. But he had calculated it up, and I knew we'd caught a bunch of fish that day. But we'd caught over 100 fish in just under 4 hours. So that's a heck of a day. So I wanted to come back out here and try it again. Now, some things have changed. Obviously, the weather's changed a lot. The leaves are starting to fall. It's going to make it difficult to cast here in certain areas. And if you notice along the shoreline, our water level started to drop. Typically it's usually about mid-November, they start to lower our water level down for winter drawdown. And I was hoping this year they might wait a little while because we had all that rain come through from the Hurricane Helene, and our water level was really high for a while. I was hoping that might delay the water drop, but it has started. And so they've got it down about a foot right now. And so I don't know how that's going to affect things today. It's obviously pulled some of them fish off of this point because we ain't got a bite, man, and we were all over it. That day that I was out here, man, we were just getting tons of fish. I bet you half the fish come off this point right here. And we ain't got a bite yet. So I can tell already some things have changed. But we just adapt to it. We'll just keep moving along. We're going to fish these rocks. We'll eventually run into something. If you're seeing this, by gosh, we ran into something. I'm not going to subject you to this mess if we're not catching fish. Now, when we throw the light action rod, we're going to throw I've got 4-pound test line on it. And we're going to throw a little bit heavier jig head, and we're going to throw a 3-inch gulp. And so we're going to fish it down a little bit deeper. We're going to hopefully catch some bass, largemouth would be nice too, but we'll probably be more inclined to catch some smallmouth bass along these rocks. On the last trip out here that we did together, oh, I had one hit me then. Finally had a tap over there. But on that last trip, we hooked a big smallmouth. I lost him on his second jump. And so he could just come unbuttoned there. I remember I didn't get a really good hook set on him. I went to pick up on my jig, and I had thought I was in a tree. I thought I was snagged. And so I'm sitting there just trying to jerk the rod, okay, there's a fish. Oh, it's tiny bluegill, but it's fish number 1. Hey, that's a start, man. Well, no skunk at least. We know where to go but up from here. Kind of like my South Carolina tournament. But I was sitting there jerking that rod, trying to pop it free from the snag, and it was a daggone fish. It started pulling. I was like, oh. So I did a half-ass hook set. There's another one. Okay, that's 2 in a row. Maybe we finally got on some here. It's another small one, but hey, it's action. He did a backflip off the kayak. At least we finally got on some over here, folks. It's took about, 10 casts to get the first fish. When I'm ultralight fishing, I'm very impatient. I need action, like now. Like I ain't got time to wait, man. I need a fish on every cast, is what I'm hoping for. Yeah, so anyway, we had that big smallmouth hook and lost him. And I thought today, coming back out here, well, I want to test that new rod anyway, see what it feels like. And I thought, we'll just try out the 3-inch Gulp, work these rocks a little deeper, and we'll see if we can't catch us some bass. So we'll do that at some point out here this morning. We'll just take a little bit of time. Oh man, I had one hit me right over there. But we'll take a little time, work that 3-inch. Again, we're gonna work this motor, this Texas Power Paddle motor. It's made to fit up under the Kayak here in the transducer slot. You turn the motor on, it pops out of that transducer slot. Oh, there's a fish. This fish ain't excited about that motor. Another small bluegill though. We're gonna hopefully find some better than that down through here at some point. But that motor pops out of that transducer slot. When you turn it on, propels you. You turn it off, it gives it a reverse thrust of speed for a second or two. Oh, there's a fish. And it pops it back up in that transducer cavity. So that when you're pulling up on the shore, it's flush with the bottom of the kayak, which is a nice feature. And that, along with the lightweight, the simple design of the motor, I thought, we'll try it out. Well, I ain't impressed with it. So we'll go over that. Oh, I got another fish right here. Was that 3 in a row now? We're back on another streak. They're tiny, man. They're tiny bluegill today. I think the quality here is, they're just a million small fish over there maybe, but I'm gonna sit here and catch me a few of them and see if we can't sort through and maybe weed out, get some bigger ones, and then we'll keep making our way along. I'm seeing right down here around this next little, there's that little outcropping of rocks right there. There's leaves right up against the shore to about 10, 15 feet out into the water, looks like. So, oh, here's another fish too. We're gonna have trouble fishing through that mess. We're gonna have to work around it a little bit. This time of year, with all these leaves on the water, it can be difficult. When you're ultralight fishing, if you cast over a leaf in the water, one that's floating, sometimes it'll stop your jig because your jig is so lightweight. It'll just stop it and you'll think your jig's sinking down and it ain't. Oh, I got one. Boy, these are tiny. We could get a 50 fish streak going here potentially, but they're all gonna be 3 inches long. Y'all don't want to catch 3-inch bluegill. When you fish in an ultralight, it don't take necessarily a big fish to get a bend in the rod, but you do need something a little bigger than 3 inches. That's what she said. I do want to sit here and catch a few more though, just to see if we can't. If we could get that jig down a little further, we might could find some better quality. I may cast this one instead of going so close to the bank. I may throw it out at the risk of losing our streak here. I may give that a little toss out there a little further out and see if we can't get it down and maybe find something a little better quality there. You'd think with that many bluegill right there, there'd probably be some bass nearby, or maybe a catfish or something, some predator fish. By gosh, we just got one. Same quality though. There's that for sale sign. Any of y'all looking to buy some property right here, give them a call. There's a free plug for them. That place is, I'm pretty sure last year when I fished here, it was for sale then too. We've had the hottest real estate market. There's another fish, man. We're tearing them up right here, numbers wise. We've had the hottest real estate market in Tennessee history the last 2 or 3 years since everybody started moving here after COVID and whatnot. The fact that this place has been on the market for at least a year now that we know of and ain't been sold tells me they've got it priced way too high. If you can't sell a piece of property and this real estate market here in Tennessee we got going on, that should tell you everything about your price. But it only takes one sucker, and according to P.T. Barnum, there's a sucker born every minute, or every second. And we're about to break our streak. I've had 2 fish hit it. I've got it damn near here beside the kayak now. Broke our streak. Had 2 hit it and didn't hook up. I've been sickly though, folks. I may sound a little different today. My head's all stopped up and I'm easily winded. It's possible I may have COVID actually, I don't know. I haven't been tested. It's kind of at this point in time, why take a COVID test? All they're gonna do, tell you to rest and get plenty of fluids. So it's like, well, why am I gonna go to the doctor and sit there in a waiting room with other people who are sick and possibly be exposing them just to be told rest and get fluids? I can do that on my damn self and just try to keep to myself, keep away from people. This is a little better one. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to, best I can anyway, keep to myself. But I got sick over there in South Carolina, or sickly. I won't say I got sick, but tournament day, I guess about the day before tournament day, I kind of started, my head just started, I got snotty. Now I thought it was allergies. You know, I thought maybe there was something was blooming, there was some dust, something over there that just triggered allergies is what I thought. Because I wasn't feeling bad. I was just, another fish. I wasn't feeling bad. I was just, my nose wouldn't quit running, right? And so I got through the tournament and I got home and I did a channel members video. When I got home, my voice, I was having a hard time with my voice. Because I guess the post-nasal drip. My throat was real sore. Another fish, man, they were, a couple weeks ago, they were all over that rocky point. Now it's like they've moved down a little bit. I don't know if the water drop is maybe, this is a little better one. We're sorting through some small fish here and finally getting a little better quality bluegill. Now the fish like this, they are big enough to put a bend in the ultralight rod. That size right there and bigger are a great time to catch. Or great fish to catch on the ultralight. A great time if I get my word. I got the brain fog too, that's another symptom I'm having. So anyway, I get back home and my throat's sore. I'm having a hard time talking because of the post-nasal drip, I guess. But then I start having other symptoms. Just this, for some reason, and this one's got it kind of deep here, we're going to bust out the pliers on him. For some reason, I'm just getting super winded over the littlest things. Like, I mean, hell, just right now, I'm talking to you, and I'm having to take like deeper breaths just talking to you because I can feel myself like I'm just feeling short of breath kind of. And so I'm having that. I'm more fatigued than usual. And I just feel bad. That's the only way I can describe it. Like I just feel bad. I don't feel right. And I feel stupid. Like I'm doing stupid things. Like my brain ain't working right. Yesterday, I was going to fish yesterday. Got to the water, I didn't have my life jacket. I forgot the damn life jacket. I'm like, how do you do that? But I done it. So anyway, I got home from South Carolina. I drove home after the tournament last Saturday. Today is Friday, right? Yeah, today's Friday. So I've lost a week, basically. And I tried to fish yesterday, because yesterday was the first day I had my voice back good enough that I could talk and thought I could talk for a long period of time. Fun fact, it's hard to make a fishing video if you can't talk about fishing. So even though I've been willing to fish this week, even though I don't feel particularly great, I mean, hell, if you're gonna feel sickly, you might as well feel sickly out on the water instead of being at home on the couch. Being at home on the couch ain't gonna make you feel no better. But I ain't been able to talk because my throat's been so messed up. And so my head ain't been, that's a little better one. Well, he's gonna fight a little bit. I don't know if this will be the biggest of the morning, but he's the hardest fighting of the morning. That's more of what the action we're looking for right there, bluegill. So yeah, so anyway, I just, I ain't felt good. But I got my voice back at least. I know I don't sound, when I hear myself talk, I don't sound like I don't feel like I'm sounding like normal. But hopefully I can talk now. I've been on, I started taking allergy medicine right away, because that's what I initially thought it was. But then the last couple days I've been taking some Benadryl at night to try to dry everything up. So I think that's kind of helped. But now I'm thinking, COVID's going around here again in East Tennessee. And my girlfriend works up there at the hospital, and she's had a bunch of her staff out with COVID. And the fact that throughout the whole thing, I haven't had COVID. If I have it, this was my first time getting it, and we'll never know because I'm not going to get tested. But the fact I just feel so winded, that's what leads me to think that it might be COVID. I've had allergies. I mean, I live in East Tennessee. Come on, this is the allergy capital of the world. Every spring, there's a week or two where something blooms and it just makes my sinuses poor. I'm used to allergies. I thought it was allergies initially, but I've never been this out of breath with allergies, over the littlest things too. I mean, me sitting here talking to you, I'm having to kind of take deeper breaths because it just feels weird. I'll work out. I was talking, one of these recent videos, I do like a little workout routine every day. I don't miss. I'll take that back. Here's what happened. I did miss a day. I hate missing a day. I don't like breaking a streak, whether I'm fishing, working out, whatever. But anyway, I missed on tournament day. I got up like 4:30 in the morning because I had to make a long run out there where I was fishing at on Santee Cooper. And fished all day. Our check-in was at 4. I went and had dinner with some of the guys afterwards, and then I drove home, and I had a long drive, which I'm gonna tell you a story about that. God almighty, you talk about a terrifying drive home. Golly bum, that was frightening, man. I was pissed off and thought I was gonna die at the same time. What an ordeal that was. But anyway, it took me forever. We got another fish right here. I think this one's a little better right here. There are some better bluegill mixed in right here. We just got to sort through them to catch them. I think this one's actually the biggest one so far. Still no monster by any stretch, but a little better quality nonetheless. Give myself a little slack here. You got that jig just inside the mouth enough there where I need me them pliers to get it out. There we go. Yeah, a little better. I got a measuring board there. If we get any that looks like they're worthy of measuring, we shall do so. But thus far, the ones we've got haven't been. I don't think we've had anywhere near the 8-inch range. Well, these we've been, the bigger, that one there was probably 6.5 inches probably. No monsters by any stretch, but fun to catch regardless. So anyway, by the time I got home, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when I got home on Saturday night, and of course I'd got up at 4:30, so I didn't do my workout that day. But I made myself do 2 workouts on Sunday to kind of keep the pace, keep the streak, even though the streak got broken, if that makes sense. But you know, anyway, I just do, you know, body weight exercise every day, a series of stretches. When you're going to sit in a kayak as much as I do, and you're getting as old as I am, you got to take care of your body a little bit. And so I do a lot of core strength stuff because I've had issues with sciatica in the past, and that was advice I got from my chiropractor. Most chiropractors, I talked about him in one of these recent videos, most chiropractors are quacks. They want to sell you on 3 visits a week the rest of your life to cure everything that ails you and just fleece you out of your money every visit. Chiropractor I went to, he's like, look, you know, we'd fixed my sciatica, I was feeling good again. We did follow-up x-rays, everything looked good. He said, look, man, we got your spine looking good again, everything looks to be in place. You don't need to keep coming here anymore. But he put me on these abdominal exercises, low back exercises. He said, we're gonna build your core strength. He said, you do this, and obviously work on your posture, which I've not done that so much. My posture in the kayak is piss poor when I'm sitting all the time, but doing these core strength exercises, I haven't had sciatica now in, I think, over 2 years now, which is the longest I've went without it in a long time. So it works. And so because of that, and because I don't want to have those issues anymore, I stick with my workout plan every day. I don't miss. And so I just, you know, I do body weight exercise. Anyway, one of the exercises that I do is jumping jacks. That's my warm-up. Jumping jacks, y'all don't care about this, but it's one of them things you do as a kid in PE class, but it's a great exercise because it gets your heart rate up a little bit, it gets you loosened up, gets you warmed up, and it engages pretty much everything, from your ankles to your calves, your hip flexors, you know, you're moving your arms too, you're getting all these range of motion things, and so that's what I like to warm up with before I do my workout, because I find it better, and this is just me, I'm not a personal trainer here, so take this with a grain of salt, but I find it better if I do jumping jacks first and then go into my stretches versus going in, doing stretches and then starting my workout. I get a better stretch, I feel like, if I'm already kind of warmed up, loosened up. So anyway, even though I've been sick all week, I've still been doing my workout routine. And boy, just getting through that opening set of jumping jacks, folks, like I'm so winded. And I'm in pretty good shape, you know, cardio shape, like I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna run no marathons. I mean, I think running marathons is stupid anyway. Who the hell wants to run 26 miles? If I'm running, oh, that fish popped himself off. If I'm running, by God, something's chasing me. At least, you know, I ain't running 26 miles. But, I mean, I'm in pretty good shape. But just getting through damn jumping jacks on my workout, like it's been a battle, man. It's been tough. And so whatever I've got, it's really messed with my lungs. And I hope I bounce back quick because I'm ready to get back to normal. So, I mean, I guess I'm fortunate. I mean, a lot of people I've known that have had COVID have gotten really sick with it. Even, you know, younger, healthy people my age. My girlfriend had it last year, I think. I think it's last summer she got it. And she was, I mean, on her ass for like a solid week. But I don't know if that's what this is or not for sure. And again, I don't see a big need at this point to go and get tested for it, because again, there's nothing they're going to do at this point. I've had it so long. We're not going to start me on any meds. It's going to be rest and fluids. I mean, that's what they're going to tell you. And so no point in paying a copay to say rest and fluids and then potentially infect everybody in the damn waiting room. I'd rather just keep to myself at home or out here on the water. I'm certainly not going to infect anybody out here on the water. And, you know, rehab myself. I don't have a thermometer at my house. I should, but I'm pretty sure I've had a fever at times as well. I mean, I just wake up in the middle of the night just hot as hell, pouring in sweat. And so I think that's probably why I've maybe felt so bad. It's when I've been kind of feverish, just kind of body aches, chills, stuff like that, sweats. Like, anyway, y'all don't give a damn about this. Y'all don't give a damn. I don't know why I'm going on so much about it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about my problems, so y'all got bigger problems than what I got going on. So anyway, bottom line is this. Sickness does not exist in this dojo, as the Cobra Kai would probably say. So we out here, by God. We out here now that I can talk again. We're going to get out here and fish and catch some fish. And oh, it's a little bass. And I'm going to sit here and enjoy myself, even if I don't feel particularly good. Because when you got a fish on the line, when I'm reeling in this little bass right now, you know what I ain't thinking about? I ain't thinking about feeling like crap. Yeah, all these fish that were on that point 2 weeks ago, they seem to have just moved down a little bit. We're just going to take our time today. We're just going to fish a stretch of this. This stretch here, along this, because I don't have a graph on this kayak, and I probably won't put one on it. But I know just from history, it gets deep real fast here. I think it's like 30 some odd feet through here. But the shoreline, you can see up here, it just comes straight down. So it drops off. Where we're setting out here, we're in some significant depth. Now up there where we're casting on the shoreline, not so much. But it just drops off really quick. I think we're going to put another gulp on here in a minute. This one here we've caught so many fish on it, we about wore it out. I'm going to flip it upside down for a second. See if we can get a few extra fish. But yeah, man, this stretch of the river, I've never come here ultralight fishing and not caught a bunch of fish, but a couple weeks ago was definitely one of those trips that stands out in my mind. Like, it just, when you catch, I've had ultralight trips before where you catch over 100 fish. Like, you go out ultralight fishing with a small plastic bait, whether it's Gulp or whatever, pick your favorite plastic bait. You're throwing something that represents a tiny shad, you're going to catch a bunch of fish. We got another one right here. We just reeling them in one after another. We finally got on that bite that, like we were on there. We may have 100 fish today before it's said and done. Now, a lot of them's going to be small, but it's bites nonetheless. But you throw this plastic, small shad-like plastic, you're going to catch a bunch of fish. But when that last trip there, you catch over 100 in less than 4 hours, like, you've done something, man. That's a lot of fish for such a short time. And so that's, how many minutes? It's 240 minutes, right? Again, my brain ain't working. 60 times, that's 240 minutes in 4 hours. And you catch 100 fish, so that's what, averaging one fish every 2.5 minutes over the course of the morning there. Like, that's pretty damn good. You figure a lot of that time, you go through some stretches where you ain't catching fish. That's going to hurt the average. You got to lose a jig, retie. That's going to hurt your average. So, I mean, that's pretty daggone good, man. And when I'm ultralight fishing, that's what I want. I'm not looking for a specific size of fish, a specific type of fish. I just want to catch anything that's willing to bite. I want to have fun. And so coming out here today, I want to have fun. I want to catch a bunch of fish. Another perk to coming out here was I launched right over here across the river. So I don't have to go far. Again, with me getting winded over the littlest thing, I didn't want to make a long run. Now, I do have the motor on here, which when we get up here in these leaves in a minute or two, or 10, however long it takes us to get up here, I'm going to run this motor and I'm going to show you what I don't like about it. Because I want you all to see the problems that I'm having and help you make an educated decision. Yeah, the problem, these damn motors and everything, every other piece of fishing gear on the market, this pisses me off. I'm gonna tell you all about this. If you try researching something, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, nobody will be honest with you. You don't get anybody that's actually used the product for any length of time. And look, I'm guilty of it, man. These damn bicycle companies, they send me and Daphne these bikes. I ride them one lap around my yard. We do the video and we sell the bike, right? Like, so I'm not a good source of information on that kind of thing either when it comes to products. Fishing products, a little bit different. You see me using the same gear all the time and 100+ videos a year, so you can kind of, I don't even have to talk about the products. This ultralight rod, I'll tell you what it is. I don't really go into great depth on the quality of it because, hell, my God, if you're a regular viewer, you've seen me use this same rod for over 8 years now. I think the quality aspect of it kind of speaks for itself at this point, right? So I don't have to talk about that kind of thing. But when you are researching a product and you're trying to get information on it, the internet is full of people who have nothing bad to say. It's always positive. They've got nothing, oh, this is the greatest piece of gear ever. It's epic. It's a game changer. So you can't get any good information. And so same thing when it comes to this motor, this Texas Power Paddle motor, I'd done my research on it. Not one damn person has told you what I'm not even gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you when we motor up through here. I'm gonna show you. Not one, you telling me I'm the only person that's experienced what we're gonna experience here in a minute? Hell no. But nobody will be honest with you. And had they been honest, they'd have saved me money because I'm gonna end up selling this thing at a loss. So, you know, it's cost me money. And it could have been avoided if somebody had been honest on one of these damn review videos that they do or Facebook posts. There's another fish finally. Because I got this motor, you know, it's specifically for this kayak. And it goes up in there in that transducer slot that I told you about. I wanted it specifically for the ocean. When I go down there to the Keys, there's a good chance I'm gonna hook into something, a shark or something, that's gonna take me a couple hours to land. I'm gonna get towed a long way from the launch. As I've discussed before, this Hobie pedaling motion, the Mirage drive, the stepping motion, my body doesn't like it. It's given me sciatic issues in the past, so I thought I'll get the motor. If I get towed out to sea, I can motor back. Well, I've been down there to the Keys the last 2 years. Both years, the seaweed has been everywhere, or some kind of grass. Here's fish. I don't know if it's actually called seaweed or if it's called something else, I don't know. I just know it's been there. Lots of it has been there the last 2 years. And both of the last 2 years, I've taken my Old Town kayak, my pedal drive, with the kind of bicycle style pedaling motion, and it has a prop drive. If you're not familiar with the Hobie drive, I'll pull this thing up a second and show you. It's got these fins, right? And so when you're pedaling, you're stepping, your fins are doing this and propelling you. The Old Town kayak that I have and that I've taken to the Keys the last couple years has the bicycle style pedaling motion, and it spins a prop under the kayak. Well, one big issue I've had down there in the Keys trying to navigate with that prop style pedal drive is that seaweed. It gets wrapped up in your prop and you're dead in the water. You got to raise up your pedal drive, clear out the weeds, and then go again until you run into another patch. And so having this Hobie pedal drive will definitely help going through those weedy areas. That will be for sure. But I was hoping with this Texas Power Paddle motor, it has this weed shield that I paid extra for to put on. And people online bragging on that weed shield, how great it is, how it just helps so much with the weeds. And I'm thinking, okay, well, these people are all saying good things about it, and I can take it down there in the Keys and maybe motor through those seaweed. You know, maybe not like if I see I'm coming up on a big clump, turn the motor off, let it pop back up in the hull, get through the weeds, turn it back on. I could do that. But just those straggling pieces of grass and seaweed out there, like it should be able, the weed guard should help with that, right? Well, hell no. Hell no. I can't even get through leaves on the surface of the water. If I can't get through leaves out here, how am I going to get through seaweed? So, and this motor, I knew it was going to be slow because I've seen other people speed test stuff. Like I knew it was going to be slow. And it is. It's full speed, about 3.5 miles an hour. So it's pedaling speed basically. And if you pedal with it, you get about an extra mile an hour. So if the motor's full speed and you're pedaling, you can go about 4.5 miles an hour. But I don't really care about the speed because I wasn't going to be using it to win races. I was going to be using it for utility purposes, just helping limit how much I'm going to have to pedal down there if I get towed out a long ways. But after trying this thing out, you know, yesterday, again, I tried to fish yesterday. Well, I left my house attempting to go fish. Well, I get the water, I realized I forgot my life jacket. Well, guess what? I can't film without my life jacket because this is where I stick my camera. And I didn't want to turn around, go home, get my life jacket, and come back because I was going to have too much time. And I had an appointment yesterday at the vet, which I had to take these damn cats to the vet, which I don't like. Again, I didn't want to wait in that waiting room either, potentially contaminating people, but I was fortunate to get that appointment as quick as I did. I couldn't not go, so I sat in the corner, tried to be as far away from people as I could. Unfortunately, it wasn't very crowded. But anyway, I wasn't going to have time to go home yesterday, get the life jacket, fish, all that. So I just tried out the motor. Boy, what a disappointment. I couldn't go hardly anywhere because the leaves would get trapped on that motor and just bog it down. I'm like, again, if it can't go through leaves here in East Tennessee, it ain't getting through all that thick seaweed. So anyway, I've left it on this kayak just so I could show you today. Hopefully any of y'all out there that's maybe considering one, you can at least make a better educated decision before you purchase than what I did. And I'm gonna take it off probably this afternoon. I'll just go pedal drive only down there and hope that I don't get towed out too far or have any sciatic issues. Again, my core strength now is so much better than what it used to be. So I'm hoping maybe I won't have the sciatic issues as much with this pedaling motion like I used to, but my body just don't like this pedaling. The bicycle style, my body loves it. I can do that all day, no issues. This, not so much. We need to switch out this Gulp. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch out this Gulp. We'll circle back over here and hit this little stretch before we get into these thick leaves over here. But since I'm talking about this damn motor right now, this is a good opportunity for me to do this motor review, if you will. So anyway, I'll show you, if you're not familiar with the Texas Power Paddle, the throttle connects to your steering mechanism. This is how you steer the Hobie. This is your rudder control. It steers your rudder there in the back, okay? Your throttle control is here. You turn this, the motor, and I've got, if you can see here, let me stand up. Well, let me just turn the camera this way. The battery's right there under the seat. This throttle control plugs into the battery. There's another wire that goes down your transducer hole to the motor, and you turn it on, that motor again, it pops out right under the bottom of the kayak, goes, and then when you turn it back off, it stops the motor. There's a delay for a second or two, and then it gives it a reverse thrust that shoves it back up under there. And I guess it's a magnet of some kind that holds it in place there under the kayak, so everything's flush. If you pull it up on the shore, it's flush. That's a great feature of this motor. But anyway, we're going to operate this. We're going to try to motor along here through the leaves. And I want you to listen to how loud this thing is too. So this is about half speed right here. I measured this yesterday. It pushes about 2 miles an hour right here at the half throttle. Now it's probably not too loud right now, because I got the fancy pants microphone on. You can see we're moving along here. I'm not even gonna go through the thickest part of this. I'm gonna crank up our speed. You can probably hear it now, it's a little louder. That right there, you hear it? So I'm gonna turn it off. It done that reverse thrust, hopefully clear out the leaves. Let's turn it back on. Nope. There's trying again. Okay, there, it cleared off the weeds that time. And we're already, just like that, we already got more leaves on us. And this we're not even going through. This over here is the thick part of the leaves. We just got random straggler leaves here. We turned on again. Okay, it cleared the leaves off when it done that reverse thrust, because when it reverse thrusts, it pushes everything off that weed guard. But just like that, you hear it? That's what it sounds like when you got leaves and then you're barely moving. So, yeah, folks, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? It's useless. If you got leaves, if I'm down there in the Keys and there's seaweed, any kind of grass on the water, you're not going anywhere. I mean, you cannot, every few feet, you're getting it's bogging down. This motor's useless. Unless you're just in perfect water, it's useless. So, anyhow, let's circle back over here, get back to fishing. So this thing, I'm gonna sell it. I've obviously at a loss because it's used now. Used it a grand total of 2 times and I already know I hate it. But I'm not even gonna bother taking it down there to the Keys, because I know if I can't get through just random leaves here on the water, what the hell am I gonna do with seaweed? I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to work down there. Fortunately, here's my saving grace with this. this motor, the company, I don't know if they're going out of business or what. They made a post. They're not going to have any more of this model of the motor until spring of 2025. They're out on their website. To my knowledge, I got the last one available from their dealers in the country. There was one dealer in New Mexico. I called him and he shipped it to me. They don't even ship stuff out of that shop, but he shipped it to me. Nobody can get these things right now, and they're not going to be able to get them for several months. I'm hoping I can find somebody that wants this damn thing online, because they're a popular motor. You get online and research, you get in the Hobie Links group, Facebook group there. My God, everybody brags on these things, how great they are. That's the best money they've spent, the best accessory they've spent for this thing. And I'm like, I can't go 20 feet without this thing shutting down. So I haven't had the same experience. It works okay. If you can find some clean water without leaves or grass, well, it'll run. It's loud, but it'll run. It'll do what I'd hoped it would do. But when do I ever have that kind of perfectly clean water? So anyway, I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna take a bit of a loss on it, I'm sure, but I'm hoping the fact that nobody else can get them right now and won't be able to get them for several months, I'm hoping that will help me sell the thing pretty quickly. Yeah, not what I had hoped for. Very, very frustrating. And if I'm 100% honest too, this kayak, I want it to be very simple, very open. Just having these wires, which I've ran, I don't know if you can see back down here or not. I can't lean too far, but you got all these wires. Putting that on and off, because you have to every trip take off the wires out the battery, right? And take the battery off. I can't transport it in the back of the truck because it'd bounce out. So that's a pain in the butt. That cost me extra time at the ramp, putting it on and taking it off. And I'm disappointed in it. That's all I can say. I'm disappointed in it. I ain't trying to sit here and bash the company, but I'm not impressed with their product. So if you're fishing clean water and you've got a Hobie Lynx and you want a motor that can go up into that transducer cavity, you know what you're getting. But if you're fishing any water with grass or leaves, I wouldn't fool with it. You'd be better off just busting out a paddle, I guess. If we raced, if we had two Hobie Lynx kayaks, one with this motor and one with me, forget the pedals, just a paddle, I guarantee you I'd win with the paddle. Because this motor, it can't go very far before you got to stop and clear it out. And I can't even hardly breathe. And I'd win that race with the paddle. Whew, I am. Just me getting fired up and talking a little faster, I can feel my heart rate up. Not from being pissed off, but because I'm out of breath. But anyway, I don't like that Gulp. The tail's all crooked and it ain't falling right. Let's put a different one on. Sometimes you get Gulp that are deformed, misshaped. That looks a little better. It'll cause that Gulp to, if you get one that's deformed, or if you don't put it on the hook straight, what'll happen is it'll helicopter on the fall. And you will still catch some fish doing that, but what you really want is it kind of falling just kind of head down horizontally is what you want. You don't want it just doing this all the way down. So yeah, that's my motor situation with this Hobie Lynx. I really like this kayak otherwise though. I mean, it's so lightweight, it's easy to haul in the truck. It's gonna be so much easier at the beach pulling through the sand. There's fish. I mean, it's gonna be just a million times easier navigating. Off the water anyway. It's very maneuverable, so I think that's going to be a big help when I'm fishing in current around those bridges down there in the Keys. And so, there's a lot I like about this kayak. Now, well, the real test will be when I do go down there in the Keys and I hook into something big, because this thing kind of glides across the water. There's not a lot of resistance. Like a normal kayak sits down in the water. This one kind of floats on top. And so if I hook into something big and it starts towing me, this kayak is probably going to take longer to land it because the fish isn't going to be pulling against as much resistance. And you hook into a big shark, I mean, you're looking at 1 to 2 hours anyway to get the damn thing up. So, I don't know, we'll see. It's going to be an experience. We ain't gonna know till we try. I'm looking forward to that trip though. I'm gonna go down, assuming the weather will permit. I'm not gonna go down there if the wind or if it's gonna rain or a bunch of stuff like that. It's gonna knock me out of fishing, but I want to go down early. My girlfriend, she's flying down. Our stay there in the Keys, we rented that timeshare, somebody else's timeshare. But our week runs Saturday to Saturday. You check in Saturday afternoon and you check out the following Saturday morning. And my girlfriend's flying in that Saturday. I'm picking her up at the airport down there. And we're going down the Keys, but I'm thinking I'm gonna probably leave my house the Wednesday before and try to fish probably Lake Ida Thursday afternoon. Take some of the fish I catch from there, maybe try to go shark fishing around the West Palm, Boynton Beach area, Pompano area, somewhere in there on Friday, and then fish maybe Lake Ida again Saturday morning before my girlfriend's flight gets in, and then go down the Keys. That's kind of what I want to do. Now that's, again, subject to change. If it's going to be storming or something or super high winds, well, there's no point in going down early. But that's what I'd like to do. And then on the way back, I've got to drop my girlfriend off at the airport. I may go hit some of the canals on the way back, again, weather dependent. So we'll see. Be nice to fish for something else other than catfish, though. I'm a little bit, I can't believe I'm saying this, a little bit burned out right now, I think, on catfishing. I'm just tired. We've traveled so much lately, catfishing, and I've had to, when you're doing these tournaments, we had the Louisiana tournament and the South Carolina tournament within about 2 weeks apart, I guess. Louisiana tournament was October 12th, and the Santee Cooper tournament was November 2nd, I believe. So, you know, a little over 2 weeks apart, 3 weeks apart. And doing these tournaments, man, you got to grind. You got to get out there and hunt fish, and it's just been, I've been catfishing a lot, really. I like, the best fishing for me, what I like doing, is waking up and thinking, what the hell do I want to fish for today? And go do it. When I have to do something, when you're on one of these trips for a tournament and you have to go out and pre-fish. And I say have to, like it's a big deal as we're reeling in another fish here. But anytime you have to do something, even if it's something you enjoy doing, the fact that you have to, it takes away a little something from it. I think you can all agree with that. No matter what it is, if you're forced to, if you have to do it, it takes away a little something. Because I've done so much lately where I've had to do it, I'm kind of just looking forward to fishing for something else. Out here today, this is much needed, just catching one bluegill after another here. Like this is, I know they've mostly been small bluegill, but I'm telling you folks, this is good for the soul right here. An ailing soul right now. The South Carolina tournament, man, I got my ass kicked, plain and simple. I don't have a good excuse. I just had things go wrong on tournament day and it didn't work out. When I finished next to last place, caught one fish. Thankfully, the one fish I caught was the biggest fish of the tournament, so I got $675 from that, or $650. No, it was $750. I got $750 for big fish, and because it was $2,100 I got. So it was $750 for the big fish prize, and then I got second place in Angler of the Year, because that was our last tournament of the season. I lost. So I got $1,350 for that. So it was $2,100 I got. So I mean, it was a profitable trip, certainly. But tournament day, that's that fish, boy, he was swimming off with. I was about to reel it in, he was swimming off. Tournament day just didn't go like I hoped. I had problems right off the bat. My graph, which I haven't even messed with my live scope. I don't know what's wrong with it. I haven't done that. Since I haven't been fishing, I haven't fooled with it. It was messed up. It won't turn on. I don't know what went wrong, but I got out there on tournament day, got no graph. That was the first thing. I made a long run, having to stop constantly because there was a bunch of grass over there in South Carolina too, so I was having to stop and clear grass off my prop constantly to get out to a little bit deeper water. I get out there and there's jugs everywhere. Some jug fishermen have been setting out jugs all night the night before. And so I'm like, well, damn, this place has already been hit. And the jugs didn't have anything on them, which is also a concern. I'm like, well, hell, either they've caught the fish and these are the jugs that's left, or they just ain't no fish here because they ain't nothing on the jugs. And I'd gotten 2 really big fish on that spot earlier in the week, and the score I put up on my pre-fishing day would have easily won the tournament had I got it on tournament day. Hell, the score I put up on another pre-fishing day the day before at a different spot would have won the tournament. Nobody caught big fish on tournament day. That tournament, 3 longest fish, well, let's pedal through these leaves here and get around this mess. Ryan won on 105 inches. And I ain't taking nothing away from Ryan, because I mean he got it done on tournament day. He got the win. But for Santee Cooper, like, that's not a very good score. I mean, I thought it would take like 120 to win. But nobody was catching them on tournament day. I mean, people were catching fish, but they weren't catching big fish. And a bunch of people, me and some of the other people, had gotten 40+ inch fish on pre-fishing, but just tournament day, I don't know what it was on tournament day. They just wasn't having it. So my fish, I think it was 40 and a half inches or 40 and 3/4 inches, I can't remember. But that won the big fish prize. And me finishing next to last place, well, blew any chance I had of winning Angler of the Year. I went into the day leading the Angler of the Year points race, and thankfully I had such a cushion over third place. The second was as worst as I could finish, but Ryan getting the win, that ended up knocking me down to second place. He beat me an Angler of the Year by 1 point. So, just one of them days, that's all I can say about it. One of them days. I had things go wrong. I couldn't catch a fish if my life depended on it, and I lost. I lost bad. Thank God for Floyd. We had one guy, Floyd. He skunked. He kept me from finishing in last place. Boy, this down through here, y'all, all these leaves I guess the wind has pushed all these leaves right up against the bank. It's like this all the way down through here. We're not going to be able to fish right up against them rocks. And we're having to cast so far out here that, I mean, where our jig's landed here, well, it's probably over 20 feet deep. It's like that all the way through the end of these rocks. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's do this. Let's do this. I want to test out this new rod. And we've had all this bluegill down here. There's got to be some bass around. There has to be. Let's go back down here where we started throwing the 3-inch and come through that area again. We might not catch anything, but there might be some either better quality bluegill or some bass that will possibly eat that larger gulp if we can fish it. These leaves, it looks like they're moving down. Out there was something splashing right there in front of us. It looks like these leaves have moved down some. I guess maybe they're generating, I guess. Maybe it's pulling a little water down the Emory here. I don't know if we can even fish over here where we were at before. We may have to make a run and go down past these leaves on the other end, because all this right here, this wasn't here before. The area we was catching them bluegill over there, it's heck far. It's covered in leaves right now. Let's throw off this point here with the larger gulp though and see what happens. I hate to make a long run right now because I'm out of breath just doing this, and this stepping motion in this links here, like it's not I'm not physically exerting myself to be feeling like I am. It's so frustrating because I'm in good shape, man. It's incredibly frustrating right now. My body ain't doing what I want it to do. All right, let's put this. Oh hell, there's a boat right there. God dang it. Well, I was going to go around this point and kind of work our way back, but there's somebody sitting on there. Let's get us a 3-inch gulp on. I'm going to show you this rod. I'm going to show you how they've changed the design of this rod. And we'll see if we like it or not. I wanted a light action rod for the Florida trip. Fishing around them bridges and stuff, my Ultralight is a little underpowered. So I wanted just a little bit heavier action. I wanted to be able to use a little bit heavier line. So here we go. This is a 1/32 ounce jig head, number 2 size hook, and a 3-inch gulp. So this will eliminate our tiny bluegill bites. They won't be able to eat this. But a bass can, and a larger bluegill can. And this is 4-pound line I got on right now. I probably will switch it out for 6-pound though before we go to Florida. Gosh dang it. What are the odds? 2 people out here fishing today and we're going to be in the same spot. There's literally, yeah, there's 2 of us in the parking lot. What are the damn odds? We're going to have to go down anyway. All these leaves moving down through here, we're not going to be able to fish much through here. But this heavier jig head will help get through them leaves that our 1/64 ounce may get caught on and fall, not fall. We've caught one of them leaves, speak of the devil. Yeah, we'll make a couple more casts through here. We're going to have to run down past these leaves. All this stuff's moving down. It's just going to prevent us from fishing effectively through here. I have to believe, though, there'd probably be some bass or some kind of predator fish hanging out near those million bluegill that were over there. But yeah, this rod, 6'4" and you see the handle here? This is plastic. This part's plastic. I don't know how I feel about it. I have to catch some fish on it here to fully determine an opinion, but boy, yeah, we can't fish through here. This is too much leaves. It wasn't like this when we got out here, but they're moving water, and so, dang. Let me make one cast right there. It looks like a little bit of an opening between the leaves. Just letting them fishing the same way, trying to just let it fall down. But yeah, we're catching a leaf on every cast. It's just too thick right here. Let's pedal on down. I ain't even bothering trying to run the motor because it's useless. Come with me, folks. Let's go for a pedal. It'll be less exhausting for you than it will be for me. This pedaling motion too, like I said, it's not exerting at all. Like I can't explain it, but you're just moving your legs basically. There's very minimal resistance at all. So it's not like it's not like I'm just doing some kind of elliptical machine here or something where there's resistance. No, there's nothing at all. My lungs just ain't working right. But yeah, this rod, last year I was throwing the Ultralight, getting bait and stuff around them bridges, and you start catching snapper. There's a bunch of different kinds of snapper down there. And you throw out some shrimp on a jig head, and it's kind of like throwing a gulp here on this bluff wall. You get a bite just about every cast. But throwing the 2-pound line and the Ultralight, some of them fish a little bit bigger, and you end up breaking off a lot, especially if you get them little needle fish, I think they're called, and they'll cut your line. So I wanted to move up in line size and also rod strength, but still not go so high that you don't enjoy it. So I think a light action rod will give me a little bit more backbone on some of them snapper, and 6-pound line will be harder to cut than the 2-pound line from the needle fish. So we're gonna try it. I'll have my Ultralight rod with me too though, so if this one don't work out or I don't like it, I can use the other one. This is my 3rd attempt to get this rod. They've went up in price. I'm pretty sure my Ultralight was $110 back in the day. These are $140 now. Amazon had them cheaper, but I ordered one on Amazon. I think it's 120. And it made it to the Knoxville post office, and then I got a message saying package undeliverable, which means they broke it. So I got on Amazon's customer service thing, reordered another one. Once again, it made it to the Knoxville post office, and I get a message saying undeliverable, which means they broke another one. So I'm sure this is a 6'4" one-piece rod. Light action, or light power, fast action. I'm sure Amazon probably packaged it in a box instead of a rod tube, and post office just, you know how they are. So anyway, 2 rods from Amazon got broke before they could get to me, and I finally just said heck with it. So I just canceled the order. And on my way to South Carolina, I stopped off at Bass Pro there in Sevierville, Tennessee. And they had it there. So I had to pay the full price, $140. That's my whole reason. I don't like ordering rods off Amazon because they do package stuff so poorly, but it was going to save money by doing it. But 2 attempts, 2 broken rods. I'm gonna make some casts right in here. We're gonna have a hard time with the leaves, but they're not as thick over here. The leaves are gone. Once we get right up here, we're gonna be able to fish. But unfortunately, they're all up against the rocks here that I wanted to fish. It was right in here somewhere. I hooked that big smallmouth there last time. I've caught smallmouth here in years past on these rocks too, so. I'm just out of breath, y'all. But anyway, I had to pay a little more, but we got it. And so I just picked it up on my way to South Carolina, and I did order this. This is a reel, same reel I've got on my Ultralight. It's the Daiwa Regal LT 1000. And so it's the same reel I got. I like this reel. I think this one was, don't quote me, it's either $49 or $59. It's a pretty good reel for the price. I mean, it's not a high-end reel or anything, but I mean, I've caught a lot of fish with the one on my Ultralight, and it's done really good. So I don't have any complaints with it, so I got me another one. Yeah, the leaves are just too thick right here. I'm not gonna be able to do what I wanna do. What's going down. Thankfully, the winds, I guess, pushed everything right here. And once we get right up here, we're smooth sailing. Let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you this story. So, most of you probably know the interstate going from I-40 going from Tennessee to North Carolina through the Smoky Mountains. It's closed down. Probably will be for a year or so, maybe longer, who knows, because of the hurricane flood. The Hurricane Helene, when it dumped all that rain in the mountains, it washed out part of the interstate. So if you're going from Tennessee to North Carolina or South Carolina, you're getting rerouted, different routes. And my navigational skills aren't great. I follow GPS. That's what Google's for in 2024. You put in your address, you hit go. So I'm motoring along there. It takes me up on the way over, up through Sevierville. I stop off at Bass Pro. It takes me up through Erwin, Tennessee, which is one of those towns that got flooded that had to evacuate people from their hospital off the roof. I saw that hospital. I drove by it, and It took a little extra time getting over there because it had to route me through the town. And so anyway, persevere, get over there. Other than being slowed down through that stretch, it wasn't a bad drive over. Well, we get done with the tournament, and we went and all had dinner together and stuff. And after that, I'm going to go home, and I hit the thing on the GPS, avoiding the road closure there on I-40, and off I go, thinking that it was going to take me the same way that it brought me over. Well, much to my surprise, it didn't take me that way. And I'm coming back, and at one point, I went for like 30 minutes on this 2-lane mountain road, like all these curves, and I'm having to go slow, of course, because it's late at night, and I'm pulling a trailer behind me, and man, it's just forever. And I'm like, why the hell would it take me this way? I don't know where I'm at, because I'm just following GPS. And so I'm doing that. And I finally, I get to a point, I get through that, and I'll be damned if it don't take me on the Dragon next. So I already went for like 30 minutes on these mountain winding roads. And now it's going to take me on the Dragon. And for those of y'all maybe not from East Tennessee, you're not familiar with the Dragon. That's what they call it. It's the Dragon. They call it this because they call it the tail of the dragon because it's a windy mountain. I think it's, I could be wrong on this, but I've heard this somewhere, so it may be true. It's the curviest road in America. I mean, I'm talking sharp curves through the mountains. And it's a long stretch of it. And a bunch of people die up there every year from wrecks, mostly motorcycles going too quick through there. So anyway, here I go, midnight. I'm tired. I've been up since 4:30 that morning, had the tournament, driving back. I'm beat, plus I'm sick. You know, it's a bad time for me to be on. I don't want to go to the Dragon ever, let alone in this situation. But here I go, because I'm committed at this point. I can't. Once you're on the Dragon, that's it. You can't turn around. There's nowhere to turn around. There's little pull-offs. You can pull off to the side, but you can't turn around once you're on the Dragon. So I'm going up through there, and there's cars everywhere. I'm talking these like Fast and the Furious street racer cars. They must be having a convention because it's midnight, after midnight, and all them little pull-offs on the sides of the Dragon, there's cars parked there. They got chairs set up, they got grills out there, like they're partying. And they're racing up and down the Dragon. Like I'm going this way, I got cars zooming around these curves like they're racing each other. Well, like I said, once you're on the Dragon, you're on the Dragon. You can't turn around. And all these pull-offs, they're packed. There's cars parked there at every one of them because they're partying. And so I'm going along, and I got to go slow because, again, it's late. I'm tired. I got a trailer behind me. I can't zoom around them curves. I don't have a street racer type car. And so I got these people behind me, these punk-ass kids. They're bright lighting me, honking at me, because they're wanting to race. They're trying to get around me, but they can't, because I can't pull off, and I can't go faster. And then bright lighting me, it's making it harder for me to see, so I got to go even slower. Oh, I had something hit me. So I'm there, I'm white-knuckled, man. I'm clenching the wheel. I'm pissed at all these punk-ass kids behind me. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, hell, I'm going to take one of these curves too fast and die. Because, I mean, you wreck up there on the Dragon, it's over. Like, I mean, people die up there every year. Look it up. A lot of motorcycles die, but cars wreck on it too. And, like, I'm pissed. And I'm scared. And now I'm hung. Gosh dang it. We're about to go back to the 1-inch Gulp here in a second, folks. Now that we threw all these leaves. We'll revisit this 3-inch here at some point on this trip, but I'm ready to catch another fish. We've went too long now without me catching a fish. I'm ready to catch another one. I guess we're gonna break this thing off too. I can't get it out. I guess we're in this tree. Oh, not gonna have to break off the jig because we managed to break off the branch. Yeah, so anyway, man, I'm terrified coming through the Dragon at night. I don't see good at night anyway. All these punk-ass kids bright lighting me, honking at me. I finally got to one of them pull-offs that they didn't have people camped out on. And man, I had at least 20 cars go by me. I had them that far backed up. They had to be some, I don't know if it's an every weekend thing or what, but something was happening. There was some kind of convention or something going on because there was just too many people out there for that hour of the night. I didn't even know that was still a thing. Like them street racer cars and stuff, like Fast and Furious. I didn't know it was a thing still. I thought that kind of went out in the 90s. I guess not, because there was a million of them there. I was terrified. Pissed and terrified. Got me another leaf. Let's make 3 more casts with this 3-inch, and then I'm ready to catch me another fish. We're gonna go back to 1-inch. This is why I don't throw the 3-inch more, because ever size up you go. There's the 1-inch Gulp, a 2.5-inch, a 3-inch, 4-inch, and I believe 5 or 6-inch. Ever size you go up, you start limiting your bites. Them bluegill like we've been catching, they can nip at this thing. You'll feel them pecking, but they can't eat it. And they especially can't get that larger hook. And I use the larger hook with this. Oh, I had one pecking right then. I like using the larger hook when I'm throwing a 3-inch. Because usually if I'm doing this, I'm specifically targeting bass. And so if I'm in a bass tournament, I don't want to be reeling in bluegill all day. I'm sure I catch a bunch of bass. I've caught some really large bass. My biggest bass ever came on a 1-inch Gulp. But you spend a big portion of your day reeling in other fish. This, you can get through those smaller fish and make a lot more casts throughout the day because you're not reeling in fish constantly. But if you're just out on a fun trip and you want to reel in fish constantly, well, you're limiting your bites. So that's why I like throwing the 1-inch most of the time. About the only time you ever see me throw a 3-inch is if I'm in a tournament, a bass tournament. Now, I've done well with this lure. I got a video on my channel from 2 or 3 years ago where I cashed a big check, throwing an ultralight and a 3-inch Gulp all daggone day. Caught a bunch of smallmouth. So you can catch a bunch of fish with this, but you're not going to catch nearly as many as what you are using a smaller bait and a smaller hook. That's just the way it is. Man, if you're using this bait, you're wanting to either target bigger fish or target bass. This ain't a bluegill bait. I have caught some bluegill on it, even with the number 2 size hook, but anytime it happens, they're larger specimens. We're gonna put this up for a little while. I would like to catch a fish on this today though, just to see what the rod's like before I get down there to Florida and try it there on them bridges and whatnot. It does feel different though. It's a little heavier for sure, like weight-wise. I don't know that I definitely prefer this, the cork, versus the plastic. I guarantee you though, that plastic's cheaper than the cork. Guarantee it. If a company changes something, there's a fish just like that. Make our first cast with the 1-inch again and immediately start getting bit. If a company makes a change to a product and the change, I mean, sometimes companies make a change to a product and it improves it. But if a company's making a change just for the sake of making a change, you can bet your ass it's to save money. And there's no benefit. Going to the plastic versus the cork, I mean, it's not like you can't sell me on a benefit. It's not like you're making the rod more sensitive or more, you're not making it more, I mean, I guess the plastic probably is more durable than the cork, but I mean, hell, cork's pretty durable in itself. So they made a change for the sake of making a change, which tells me it's saving money. So they're saving money on cost and they raise the price by going from 110 to 140. What is that? 20-something%. So almost 30%. So it is what it is, you know, prices go up. But disappointing nonetheless. I would have rather had the same handle just with a light action. This rod here though, I mean, oh, another one hit me. It's caught some big fish. I mean, I've caught some big drum with this thing. I've hooked carp, I've hooked buffalo, I've hooked big bass, certainly. We damn near hooked a muskie one time on this thing. Actually, that was down here. That was last year, down here. Sure enough, I was reeling in a bluegill and a muskie come after the bluegill. Did you see me set the hook on that? Whatever this is over here, I just set the hook on it good, man. But I've caught some big fish on this ultralight. If you just play them out, you can land them. But it's mainly, there we go, come free. Going down there, what I'm wanting that light action rod for, it's not even really so much about the rod as it is the line. I want to use a little bit heavier line, and because the needlefish last year just kept breaking me off, the 2-pound line. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to use a heavier line, why not just get another rod? And that way when I do hook into a bigger snapper or some other saltwater fish, you know, you can hook anything down there and you're fishing with shrimp, literally. A shrimp in the ocean is like this Gulp minnow here in freshwater. Like, everything will eat it. And so I just want to be able to have a better chance at landing those fish. I think that rod will probably work out. It's just disappointing with the handle. There's fish. This fish is disappointed. He's got a hook in his mouth. Oh, fish, look what you've done. You eat it kind of deep, buddy. Let's see what we can do here. See if we can get this one back. I think we can, yep. You're lucky, fish. If you got that any deeper, he'd have been in the gill. There was something busting shad right up there. At least up here we can actually cast. Now you can see the composition. I just shot that thing right back at me. Slingshotted it. The composition of the terrain up here has changed. We went from the bluff wall. Now we're up here, it's a more gradual decline. It's not straight down anymore, it's kind of out. So we're fishing shallower now up here in this area. We'll be like that all the way up through here for the rest of the morning. I really wanted to spend more time on that bluff wall, but what can you do? If you can't cast over there, you can't cast over there. It's just that time of year, if the leaves falling, wind pushes them one side of the river, and there they are, like this bluegill, there he is. We're gonna keep catching fish down through here though, I promise you that. This lure will catch fish everywhere. All up and down through here, it's gonna catch them. Oh, man, another one hit me. Yeah, I would have definitely liked to spend more time on that bluff wall. We would have had a better chance, especially throwing the 3-inch, we'd have had a better chance at smallmouth on them rocks than out here. I mean, there's still rocks, obviously. You can see them on the shoreline here, but I do much better on bluff walls throwing that 3-inch gulp. Bluff walls is a great place. That's probably my favorite place to throw it, actually. This 1-inch gulp here, I'll throw it anywhere and catch fish with it, like this in here. But when you're specifically targeting bass with the larger gulp, you can't go wrong with bluff walls. And it don't matter too, time of year, because there's always gonna be some bass on them bluffs. Spring, summer, fall, winter, like there's always gonna be some bass on the bluffs. I navigated around that leaf right there thinking I was gonna catch a fish at any moment and just didn't on that cast. Nobody's called me yet. I guess that's a good thing. Got a potential, hopefully not, medical situation going on. I've told y'all I'm gonna catch y'all up on some stories here. Y'all following the drama, the saga, the whatever you want to call it of my life. There's your fish. Oh, lost him. Anyway, especially my channel members, because my channel members they see the behind the scenes stuff. I film videos there at the house and give them behind the scenes stories, so they kind of know what's up. They've seen both of these cats that I'm about to talk about. But yesterday, like I said, I had to go. There's a fish. He hit it 3 times. Oh, that was a bass too. They can hit it 3 times. I didn't get a good hook set on him. Got shad flipping over here to our left too. Seems like there's more bait down here in this stretch than there was along the bluff wall. But anyway, I had that vet appointment yesterday because I'd said, I can't remember if I told you all this or if I just told my channel members. Because I know I told my channel members because I was showing that sickly cat on one of them videos. My neighbor moved, left all them cats, and I bonded with one of them. And it took a while, but there was another one that was real sickly, real skinny, and it'd hiss at me and growl, but it finally warmed up to me. And I got to where I could pet it and kind of bonded with it a little bit. And it's just skin and bones. And I said, when I get back from South Carolina, I was going to call and make a vet appointment, take this thing to the vet, get it checked out, get whatever it needs, medical care. Well, I'm a man of my word, so I got back home, South Carolina, and I made an appointment. But while I was gone to South Carolina, I ended up letting the other cat, there's a black one and an orange one. The black one was the one I bonded with first. I left it in the house while I was gone. And there's this bluegills dancing around out there in the water. I left the black one in the house, and it done good. It didn't get in any trouble. It didn't puke in the house. It used the litter box. It didn't tear up anything. It done very well. My mom went over to my house and fed it while I was gone, and she was feeding the outdoor cat too. And so between the week I was gone and then this week, the orange cat has really started to put on some weight. Because he's been getting the cat food, of course, but he's also been getting some treats and whatnot. So he's really been, and if I go out and grill a steak, I cut them all up a little piece of it. And so they've been eating good, and he started to pack on some weight. And he's been real friendly toward me. Like he's still a very skittish cat, but it does good with me. And it's done well with my girlfriend too, who doesn't like cats, but she's coming around. And so anyway, I started letting the orange one in the house when I got back from South Carolina, just at night. And it's done pretty well too. So, my poor girlfriend, she's coming around. She's compromising. I think she's starting to like these cats, I think, because they've both taken to her. They prefer her over me, actually, just from watching their behavior toward us both. But she's coming around. But anyway, this orange cat, he was real sickly. He just, skin and bones, part of his ear's missing. I guess he'd been in a fight at some point. He had a bunch of drainage from his eyes. He hurt his paw. Before I left, this damn cat, I was grilling a steak. And the black cat, I think now has adapted. Like he knows he's going to be fed, so he eats when he's hungry. But the orange cat is still in survival mode. So if there's food, like he tries to get it. Like he has to go outside. Like if I'm going to eat dinner, he has to go out because he'll be all up in your plate. And so anyway, I'm grilling a steak before I left to go to South Carolina. And the damn orange cat, it jumped up on the grill. I ain't playing with you folks. It jumped up on the grill. Tried to. It can't jump very high. But it got its front paw up there. It was like hanging on to the grill, and it finally let go because, it was burning it. I felt so bad. It ran off limping. Like, oh my God, So I was going to take it to the vet anyway, but now I'm like, I've got to get that looked at. And so anyway, the vet looked at his paw yesterday. I took him up there, and it was okay. It wasn't a bad burn. She thought it healed. She gave him some antibiotics. But anyway, so yesterday's vet day, right? I'd called, set the appointment, go to the vet. And I'm probably sicker than the damn cats, but here we go to the vet. And I get the orange one. I had 2 pet carriers. My mom let me borrow because she's got cats, and she had these pet carriers. And one pet carrier was kind of small. So the orange cat, which is the bigger of the 2 cats, I put in the bigger carrier. And I thought I was really going to struggle to get him in, so I was going to put him in first because he's, again, very skittish. But to my surprise, he went right in the carrier. No problems at all. Now, he was terrified once he got in there, he was terrified the whole way up there. And during the exam, I mean, I felt so bad for him because he was so scared. I thought he'd claw us to death. He didn't try to claw us or fight at all. He just hunkered down. It was so pitiful. I can tell just from the clear ass whoopings he has taken in his life. I mean, hell, he's missing half of an ear because he's been clearly lost some fights before. But I felt so bad for him. He was so pitiful. But he went in the carrier so easy. The other cat, who I thought would be, there's fish, I thought would be very easy to get in the carrier. I was going to put it in the smaller one. Because of that, it was a nightmare to get that cat in the carrier. I tried. I failed. I now have a gash about 3-4 inches long across my chest where that cat dug its claw in through my shirt, through my skin. I mean, it tore me up and was trying to bite me. It was growling, hissing, clawed me up. And I'd made a mistake because I went outside to get the carrier, and when I went out, that little black cat ran outside, which I let it out. It ain't no big deal. It goes outside, it comes back. So and it's you can pick it up. You can do whatever you want to with this cat. So we got into the bluegill here. It's been so friendly to this point. So I'm like, well, I'll just put him in the crate there out on the porch. Yeah, well, after he tore my ass up and got away, he ran off. I couldn't get hold of him again. So the black cat, the one we're calling Midnight, girlfriend named him, not me. He didn't end up going to the vet yesterday. He was supposed to, but he didn't because I couldn't get him in the damn carrier, and I had to go. I'd have him more time with it. And I wanted the orange one for sure. Midnight, the black one, the fish hit it, I was reeling in. Midnight looks to be pretty healthy. I mean, he was skinny at first. Let's flip this gulp upside down, see if we can get another fish on it. Midnight was real skinny in the beginning. But I swear, this cat doubled in weight while I was gone. While my mom, I don't know what she's feeding them damn things. But when I got home from South Carolina, I looked at that cat and I'm like, holy cow, is that the same cat? I mean, it had put on a few pounds. But otherwise, I mean, its coat, its fur looks healthy. Doctored its ears for ear mites. But otherwise, it looks fine. It was the orange one that I was most worried about. So anyway, I go up there with the orange one. And the orange one, by the way, we've named it, me and the girlfriend. It's Marty, that's what we're calling it. Marty is short for Martin Luther Kitty. So, I don't know why. The girlfriend's like, what do you want to name this cat? Because, she's coming around to keeping them. And the first thing that popped in my head was like, Martin Luther Kitty. So, we both laughed at it. And next thing you know, we're calling this cat Marty. Short for Martin Luther Kitty Jr. But anyway, Martin Luther Kitty goes to the vet up there. And the vet looks it over and they gave it vaccines, they gave it the antibiotics there for the wound on its paw. But they didn't do any blood work. And I thought, they'd probably do some blood work, check this thing out. But they didn't. They were like, well, it's got to get neutered, which it does. And so they're going to do the blood work then. I'm like, okay. So I go out to the front desk to pay the bill, and it was $100. It was cheaper than I expected. Because I go up there to Butler's, up there in Solway. It's a longer drive for me, but they're so much cheaper than other vets. You can't always get appointments when you want because they're always so busy, but it's so much cheaper. So anyway, it was $157, and that was for the shots and the medicine, and I got some flea and tick and ear mite medicine for him too. That was the biggest part of the expense, was the medicine. I'm standing there at the desk, and the girl was like, "Do you want to go ahead and schedule to be neutered?" And I'd already asked the vet, because he's put on a little weight the last couple weeks. He's not as frail as what he looked initially. I'd asked the vet, like, do you think I could go ahead and get him neutered? Do you think he's like physically good enough condition to tolerate sedation and whatnot, being neutered? And she's like, yeah, I think so. I think he's healthy enough. Because he ended up being, they weighed him. He was like 7.8 pounds now. So, and she estimated he was somewhere between 2 and 5 years old, she thought. She thought he was an adult cat, but not geriatric, so 2 to 5, in that range. So I'm out there at the desk, and the girl was like, when do you want to have him neutered? And I was like, well, what's the soonest you have available? Because I knew I have next week that I'm going to be home, but then the following week, there's your fish, I'm going to be leaving there some point in time to go down to the Keys, go down to Florida, right? So if we could get this done before I go, that'd be great. And she's like, well, I actually have tomorrow. I mean, meaning today, because this was yesterday, the appointment. And I was like, well, I hesitated because I'm like, I've just put this cat through a traumatic experience, hauling him up there, getting poked and prodded on. He doesn't trust people as it is. I'm like, I should probably bond with him a little more, try to, before I take him to be neutered. But then I'm like, well, then I got to make another trip up there, which is, for a fairly good drive, especially with traffic. And I was like, well, if we do it today, what time do I have to bring him in? She's like, he needs to be here at 7. And I'm like, but she said, or you can just leave him here tonight. And I was like, oh my gosh, because do I really want to leave this cat there after what I've done to him? Because he's terrified. I mean, he was terrified anyway. And now he's getting left in an environment he don't know, around other barking dogs and cats and stuff. But I'm like, if I do it, if I leave him there, then he doesn't have to go through the traumatic experience of being put in a carrier to go up there again. And so I ended up doing that. And so he's getting neutered today. Old Marty, this afternoon, he's going to be half the man he used to be. But he's getting neutered. And so they were going to do some blood work prior to the the surgery. And so they said they would call if there was any problems with that. Because I'm concerned that one of the cats that the neighbor girl had has feline leukemia. Because it was wasted away too, skin and bones. You could hear it breathing. It had a lot of snot. It had like a crackle sound. And I was very concerned it had feline leukemia, which means all the other cats were exposed to it too, potentially. And cats don't necessarily show symptoms of it right away, but it'll catch up with them later on. And so I thought when we went up there that they would do blood work as part of the exam, but they didn't. And so I'm hoping they check him for that today before they do the neutering. I mean, he's going to get neutered regardless, but I'm hoping they check that. But anyway, I was told they would call this morning if there was problems with his blood work. And so I don't know what time it is now. Let's see what time it is. It's 9:19 here, November 8th. So we ain't got called yet, so that's a good sign. And then they were going to call me about lunchtime, they said, and tell me when I could pick him up. And my mom has a doctor's appointment up in Knoxville today, so she said to let her know when I hear from them, because if he's ready to go, I think her appointment's at 1 o'clock, I think. If he's ready to go when she gets out, she said she can just swing by there and pick him up and drop him off at my house on her way home. So that would be real helpful. That'd keep me from having to go back up there and potentially contaminate more people. Sorry to cough in the microphone, y'all. My cough has improved. I've been coughing a lot with snot drainage, but I'm past that. It's just now I just feel like crap. Can't hardly breathe. But I don't really necessarily want to. I'm trying not to go places. I didn't want to cancel the vet appointment because it's Paul, and I wanted to get him checked out. You know, like this, I feel so bad for him. But anyway, Marty and Midnight. Midnight did come back last night after running off, after me trying to wrangle him into the into the carrier. He was waiting on the porch last night when I got back, so oh, nice thump. That one nailed it right there. That's a small fish too, he nailed it. Look at him now, he's caught himself with his fin, he's upside down. Good fish, man, he thumped it. Yeah, he ended up coming back, and so yesterday, here's something else that's interesting too. I might sell you all a product here, y'all, because I'm going to speak very highly of this, even though I've just had it one day. But clearly, I can formulate an opinion, especially on the Texas Power Paddle motor. I can formulate an opinion. Oh, that was another little bass right there. You just spit it. Tiny bass. I think they're stacked up on that tree right there. It's like an old cedar tree. But anyway, part of the fish. Oh, and that would spit it too. Let me check my hook. Yeah, my hook's okay. Bad luck, 2 fish in a row. So anyway, the girlfriend again is coming around to the kitties. I think she's starting to bond with both of them. And she is allergic to cats, but she's allergic to a lot of things. She gets allergy shots. So she's not as comfortable in the house as she once was, but that's a better bluegill right there. But nevertheless, these cats, they like her. And growing up, my girlfriend never had pets because her sister's allergic to literally everything on the planet. Like, I think she's got like an autoimmune type thing, so she's allergic to everything. So they never had pets growing up. And so, and of course I've got Daphne the dog, but Daphne's kind of a rough pet to have. You know, Daphne's a very energetic animal. So if you get somebody that's like my girlfriend that's kind of a bit timid around animals and stuff, Daphne the dog's not the greatest ambassador. You know what I mean? Like she's rough and she's energetic and she likes to wrestle, and she's not the best dog for my girlfriend. Let's just put it like that. She's turned into an okay dog for me now that she's starting to get past her puppy stage where she runs off all the time. But not necessarily the best pet for my girlfriend. But these cats, they've taken a liking to her. They'll get up there and they'll lay there at her feet on the chair, and they show her attention without being like all up on her and stuff. And so she's coming around to it. And I think she's kind of getting used to the fact that we might have not only 1, but 2 cats in the house. But part of the compromise for having these cats in on either a semi or all the time basis is we got to make some changes in the house. One of the things to cut down on the smell, because I have a small house. So if one of them cats goes in there and decides to be a jerk and poop in the litter box and doesn't cover it, it's going to stink up the whole house because I got a small house. And, you know, you get cats, and I've had a cat before, sometimes they get in the mood and they're just like, I'm not going to cover my poop today. Deal with it, human. And so, to keep down on the smells and the pet dander and all that, one of the purchases I've made as part of the compromise was to get an air purifier. Now, my mom has a friend that said she got an air purifier, and it was a big help. Couldn't smell the pets, couldn't smell smoke smell, like really helped. And I was skeptical. I've always thought air purifiers were like snake oil, just a scam. But I'm willing to try it to appease the girlfriend. So I ordered one on Amazon. I got the one with the most reviews. It had like 119,000 reviews. 4.8, I think it was, out of 5 stars. Over 119,000 reviews. I'm like, okay, this is the one I probably want. And it wasn't expensive. It was on sale. I think it was $79, I think. So one followed it right there. Did you see that? Something followed it up right there. So I was reeling it in. I hooked this thing up yesterday. It got delivered. And it came right before I was leaving to go to the vet. So I turned it on. I put it in my dining room, because my house has an open floor plan. Like, you walk in, there's kitchen, dining room, living room, and then you've got the bedrooms, right? Like, it's a open floor plan. There's no hallways or anything. So I put it in the dining room in the corner. I'd got a plant stand to get it up off the floor, about a foot or so. I turned it on. Oh, that's a better fish right there. We got something that ain't a bluegill here, folks. I don't know what it is yet, but I don't know what this is. Let's try to get him off these rocks and trees and stuff. There's a bunch of fish on this cedar tree right here that's broken off and fallen into the water. A bunch of fish. We lost that little bass, we've hooked some bluegill there, and now we got whatever this is. I'm just gonna back him up, try to get him away in case there's other debris out here possibly he could get hung in. Maybe a catfish, could be a channel cat possibly. I didn't get a good look at it when it splashed. I'm gonna back off my drag just a smidge. I got the net with us, so won't have any trouble landing it once we get it up here. I just don't want to horse him too much with this 2-pound line. And then I'm going to tell you the story about the air purifier. I'm going to sell y'all some air purifiers today. I ain't even trying to. Boy, this fish, I ain't even pulling, man. He just keeps taking some line. He's running out here deep water, thankfully, so he's not going to get hung in anything out here. This is fun. When you look into something too big for the ultralight, it becomes a battle of skill, because the fish has a legitimate chance of either breaking your line or coming free. And it becomes a test of patience. Can you be patient enough not to horse the fish? I think we're through the surge now, so I'm going to tighten down just a little bit on him. See if we can start getting him to try to come up now. This may be a cat, either a channel cat or a blue. If it was a bass, it would have done been jumping. It would have done come up. So I know it's not a bass. Could be a drum potentially. If we get a drum, I'm probably going to keep it. If it's reasonable size, put it in the cooler. If I feel like fishing tomorrow, I think I'm going to go carp fishing. Again, I'm kind of just taking a little break from the catfish for a minute. Even though I've had a break all week because I just ain't fished, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow. I think I'm doing pretty good out here today. I just wish I could breathe better. I don't know if I actually am short of breath or if I just feel short of breath. I don't have a pulse ox to check my oxygen level. I'm ready to see this thing. I want to see what it is. I hope it's a drum and not a catfish. He ain't gonna get no front camera time, I'll tell you that, because I ordered the wrong piece. I'm building a camera mount. It's gonna mount right there on that ram ball. I ordered the wrong piece. So I was gonna put that together this week, and I went to do it the other day. I'm like, damn it. So I had to order a new piece. It's in the mail. Yeah, it is a cat. I think it's a blue though. I think. No, it's a channel. It's an old channel cat. I hate these things. If I told y'all how bad I hate channel cats. Get over here, channel kitty. Get in that net. There you go. Yeah, that cat right there, it weighs a few pounds, man. That's a battle on the ultralight, man. Channel cats, I don't like them, but they fight hard. What you got to say for yourself, channel cat? Got my line. You didn't get my line too slimed up, did you? Easy, easy. There he is, folks. I'm gonna long arm him out there so you can see him as he's throwing water all over my face. Probably your face too. Did he get water all over the lens when he done that? Let's see. No, y'all look good. Camera's crooked, but y'all look good. All right, well, what do you say, me and you? Let's go over here and throw on that tree some more. There seems to be a lot of fish on that tree. This is an old cedar tree. It's died and broke off, falling down in the water. But that's bluegill, hooked and lost a bass, and now a channel cat, all on that tree. I don't know how far it goes out either. Won't be able to know without a graph, but we'll just make some random casts in that area and see what happens. But yeah, this air purifier, so anyway, I got it delivered yesterday. And it showed up right before I was leaving to go to the vet, so I hooked it up, turned it on. And I don't know how long, I mean, I don't have any experience with air purifiers. What the hell do I know? I don't know how long it takes to operate and work. Well, folks, let me tell you, by the time I got back home, which is like, I don't know, 2 hours later, the appointment was at 3. I left around 2. I guess I got home about 4. So by the time I got back home 2 hours later, isn't it bluegill? My house smelled amazing. Like you couldn't tell there were animals in my house at all. Like it was, I was blown away. Like it was just, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy cow, this damn thing works. And so the real test was when the girlfriend come over last night. And yes, she knows I'm sick and she don't care. So, I mean, she cares that I'm sick, but I mean, she don't care that she may potentially catch whatever I've got. So anyway, she comes over, and the real test was going to be, there's fish. Oh, missed him. The real test was going to be when she walked in, because she notices the smells, I think, more so than I do. I guess I'm there all the time. I guess I'm kind of nose blind to it to an extent. But she walks in and she's like, This is nice. She's like, I don't smell a cat at all. I don't smell any animals. This is great. So air purifier, if you got animals, folks, get you an air purifier. Now, I can't sell you on any, I don't know if one type's necessarily better than the other, but I got that one on Amazon. It's called a Levoit, I think, Levoit. And you know, I'd wait if I was you, if you don't need one right now, because Black Friday, they'll probably have a bunch of sales coming up here in a couple weeks. There's another fish. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it was it was $80 something after tax. But I mean, if it keeps my house from smelling like having 2 cats and a dog in there, worth every penny. Apparently, you got to clean the filter every 2 to 4 weeks and then replace the filter every 6 to 8 months. That's what it says. So, and it looks like it's a pretty simple process to clean the filter, like you'd just be blowing off an air filter. But I don't know how it does it, but I mean, the smells, folks, gone. Like my house smells, well, it don't smell like anything. There's no smell at all. Even the candle, like we burn a candle when the girlfriend's there. She's a girl, she likes candles. And so the house, usually you can smell like whatever scent of the candle that we're burning at that particular time. You couldn't smell it anymore. Like it got rid of all the smells. I don't know how it does this sorcery, this magic, but it does it. And so anyway, if I think about it, what fish, as I started reeling it in, he hit it. Little bass. You know what, let's do? This may be stupid. Or this could be a home run, folks. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna swing us out here just a little bit. We're gonna bust out that 3-inch gulp on this tree. Let's see, as we got a catfish there, there's a couple bass that's let their presence be known. Let's throw that 3-inch gulp on that tree and see what happens. But anyway, I will, if I think about it when I'm doing this video today, in the video description, I'll put a link to that air purifier, because if you were thinking about getting one, I'll be the first to tell you, they're not a scam, folks. They are the real deal. I thought it was snake oil. All these people talking about air purifiers and stuff, like I thought, it's stupid. They're the real deal. So I'll put a link down there. Might make me a few extra bucks if one of you actually buys the damn thing. I ain't trying to sell you one, but I am just saying, like, this thing's pretty awesome. So that link will be for the one that I got. I don't know if that's the best one or not, but it was just the highest reviewed one there. And yeah. So click that link, it'll take you to Amazon. If you make a purchase on there, it puts I don't know how much, a few dollars probably. I think most Amazon affiliate link stuff, most of it's about 3%. So what, $70, let's say $80, $79. 10% would be $8. 5% would be $4. So somewhere between $2 and $3, by gosh. But you know what, $2 or $3, it adds up, folks. Puts a jingle in the pocket. Can help pay for Marty's neutering fee. You know, it wasn't bad to get Marty neutered. It's $50 is all. They said that's what I'd owe today. I don't know why they just didn't go ahead and bill me for it yesterday, but they said they wait till tomorrow to bill me for that part. Well, tomorrow being today, since that was yesterday, you know what I mean. Yeah, only $50 to get Marty neutered. Marty don't think it's a good deal right now. I guarantee you that. Martin Luther Kitty, he's probably like, Justin, you should have saved your money. Well, we ain't catching diddly doo-doo on this 3-inch over. I thought for sure we might have a bass snatch it. I'm gonna make a cast in a minute. Reel it across this thing, like swimming it. Sometimes when I'm throwing these Gulp, obviously I like to throw it out and let it sink. And as it's sinking, that's when I often get my bites from bluegill and crappie and smallmouth. But actively reeling it in is when you will oftentimes get bit from largemouth, white bass, yellow bass. They tend to hit it more on the retrieve. I don't know where this tree comes out. I was making some casts here out in front of it here in case it comes out farther. Throw one back that way and let it sink down a little bit and we'll retrieve it and then we'll go back throwing the 1-inch again. I just couldn't not throw this 3-inch right there and just see what happens when we were getting so many fish. Well, we still got the new rod Bad Judy on this again. Can't get the skunk out off of it. Bust out the 1-inch again. I bet you we'll go up here and we'll probably catch a fish probably on the first cast with this thing, back on that tree that we was just throwing on with the 3-inch. Gonna try to anyway. It's funny how that works. You'll be throwing that 3-inch, not getting a bite, and then all of a sudden you switch back over the 1 and boom, you start catching fish again. We already caught several fish on this thing though. We may have done spooked the others. So yeah, I'll, if I think about it today, hell, and you know me, I've got a million things on the brain. I might forget, but there's fish. Second cast. If I do forget to put that link down there, it's called a Levoit, L-E-V-O-I-T. And it's very quiet. Again, my house is small, but when that thing's running in the dining room, in the corner of the dining room, and we're sitting in the living room, you can't hear it. There's another one. And we went to bed. I left it running last night. This is a better bluegill right here. We went to bed last night. I didn't turn it off or anything. It has a sleep timer. You can turn it off there, I guess, when you sleep, if you got it in your bedroom or something. But I didn't turn on no sleep timer. I just left it running. And it didn't, we didn't hear it at all last night. I didn't. Of course, I had taken a Benadryl to help kind of dry me up, and I don't take medicine, so if I do take a Benadryl ever, it just knocks me on my ass. I got to back off this tree. It just zonks me, man. I'm just out. But I didn't hear it. Even before I went to sleep, though, I tried to hear it. I couldn't hear it at all. So it's quiet. It makes your house smell, I guess, neutral. I don't even, it's not like it puts out a scent or anything. It don't really, I mean, it's not like putting out a perfume or nothing like that. It's not like that. It's just a neutral smell. Like there's no odor. So anyway, I'm a big believer now in the air purifier. I wasn't for the longest time. I thought it was snake oil. It was just a scam. Now I'm a believer in the air purifier. So get you one, folks. That's my sales pitch for the air purifier. The other thing that we've got coming, because again, this is a compromise. These cats are You know, we're trying to keep odors and other issues with cats down as part of this compromise. The other thing I've bought, hasn't been delivered yet, is a litter robot. A litter robot, if you're not familiar, is basically a high-tech litter box. Very, very overpriced litter box. It's ridiculous almost. But the cat goes into this litter box. It does its business in there. And when the cat steps out, the litter box apparently knows it has stepped out, will then circle around, dropping the pee or the poop down into a container below the litter box where it is sealed off, cutting down on odors. It's also supposed to use less litter because of this. And it has an attachment that goes on it that automatically puts the appropriate amount of litter into the box. So basically, you go from having to clean a litter box every day to keep everything smelling good to really only doing it, I think it said once a week for one cat, so probably once every 3 or 4 days having 2 cats. Although with them being outside some, I think they're probably going to the bathroom outside while they're out there. So anyway, once every, let's call it 3 to 7 days, in theory, having to clean out the litter box, and then it comes with this bin that it drops down into, and you've got a trash bag in it. So you just take the bag out, basically. We're gonna move on from this tree here. I think we've caught all we're gonna catch on it. Yeah, so anyway, that's part of the compromise too. The air purifier and the litter robot. And it's supposed to be, I got a shipping notice, so it's supposed to be on the way, but I don't know for sure when I'm gonna get it yet. Very, very expensive, very overpriced. Marty and Midnight, they're running up quite the bill already. Between food, treats, toys, vet bills, and now litter robot and air purifier. Marty and Midnight are so far in debt, they're never gonna get out. This litter robot, oh, he's swimming right at me. I saw my line coming at me. Little bluegill, you tried to hit and run, didn't you, buddy? The litter robot, thankfully, even though it's ridiculously expensive, it has a 90-day return policy. So if either you don't like it, your cat won't go in it, whatever, if it ain't living up to expectations that they've set, not me. They're the ones on their marketing campaign touting it as the best thing ever. Here's another bass. Let's see if we can get a jump out of him. Jump up and spit that hook for me, bass. A little smallmouth. Old small jaw over there. Pretty fish. Tiny smallmouth, but pretty colors on him. 1-inch gulp, getting it done, man. So yeah, 90 days we got to make a final decision on this thing. You do have to pay the return shipping if you send it back, which I'm sure is something as big as this contraption is, will probably be a ridiculous shipping fee to send it back. So that's probably one of those ways that they deter you from returning it, but I won't hesitate to return it as expensive it is. If it ain't working as advertised, we're going to have to switch this Gulp out. Gulp's tore there. We've caught a bunch of fish on it though. Let me back up off this too. The wind's gonna blow us up right there where we're catching fish. But anyway, I will certainly send it back if need be. I hope it works out. I mean, it is ridiculously priced, but I do hope it works out. Trying my best to make the girlfriend happy with this situation, since she's been willing to compromise with me as far as having these cats in the house, which I can't believe I'm having another cat in the house at all. I said never again. After my last cat died, I wasn't doing that, wasn't going down that road anymore, but here we are a little over a year later, and I'm a sucker for a animal in need. And these poor cats, they didn't ask for the life that they were given. They didn't ask to be there at my neighbor's house. They didn't ask for her to move away and leave them there to starve. They just got dealt a bad hand in life, folks. And I have the ability and the means and the desire to help out these poor animals, and so I have. And it's costing me out the ass. Between litter robot, vet bills, air purifier, food, treats, this fish right here, $1,000 into these damn cats. I don't know about the litter robot, but it's a pretty good idea. Whoever come up with it, pretty good idea. And it sends you notifications on your phone saying, hey, it's time to empty out the bin. It's time to add more litter to the hopper. So, we'll see. We had one of them, what do you call them things? The vacuum cleaners, that robo vacuum, iRobot. What the hell's them things called? Roomba, that's it. Roomba, we had a Roomba, and it was great. It was the best thing ever for like a year. And then it crapped out. I'm like, is the litter robot gonna be the same way? Is it gonna be the best thing ever for, well, I got the extended warranty. I bought a bundle. It was some holiday thing, special they were running. I'm gonna be pissed if they run a better one on Black Friday after I just bought this thing. And they may. But it said that their holiday specials had started now, is what they said on their website. So I went ahead and got it, but part of their holiday bundle, it come with the litter box, the litter robot. It had the hopper thing that feeds the litter into it. It had the extended warranty, which goes from, it comes with a 1-year warranty, it goes to 3 years now. And what else did it come with? It come with a bunch of them trash bags that go down in the bin. And some cat litter. I forget how much cat litter. Anyway, it was a big bundle package, and but I'm gonna be pissed if I click on their website, and I'm going to, on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and it's a cheaper deal than what I've just paid. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be sending an email and trying to get refunded the difference, because it says on there now, holiday special starting now, and it's got their sale price. So I went ahead and done it based on that. I'm sure the air purifier will be cheaper too on Black Friday, but it was already marked down and fairly inexpensive anyway. So I'm like, what am I going to save? An extra $10 or $20 by waiting another 2 or 3 weeks? Let me just go ahead, spend the extra money. We'll try to appease the girlfriend now, and money well spent. Speaking of big purchases, here's another update for you. So at the South Carolina tournament, our tournament director, Kayak Mike, he had went the week before and got his new kayak, the Bonafide XTR 130, which I've been talking about now for, feels like forever. So I was able to see it in person at the tournament, and I looked it over real good, felt around on it. It seems to be okay to me. Like, I didn't see anything. There was nothing about the kayak that just immediately jumped out at me like, that's a problem. That's a deal breaker. There was nothing like that. So anyway, I'm going to go get the thing. My plan is, and this is, you know, subject to change depending on how I feel, but my hope is to go Sunday. I'm going to drive up to Ohio, Raccoon Creek Outfitters. They're going to do my wiring for the motor, which I already have the motor, the power pole motor. They're going to do the wiring and all that. Hopefully the wiring on the fish finder and everything too, and get all that rigged up for me. My plan, you know, again, this is subject to change, how I feel. I certainly don't want to go up there and get anybody sick if I'm still dealing with this. But the plan is to leave out that morning, probably get up 4:30, 5 o'clock, start my drive, because it's 6 hours. Drive up there, hopefully get there by noon, get to kayak, then drive back home that night. Try to do it all in one day. But go ahead and get the kayak, get it home. The way I can start working on it, I can just set it on my carport and start doing the rigging, get the rod holders and all that, figure out how I want to do that. And then hopefully start fishing in it when I get back home from Florida into the month. Well, it'll be the first week of December when I get back, because Thanksgiving falls very end of the year this year. I'm just getting short of breath again all of a sudden. But anyway, I want to go ahead and get it and start getting all that done. I got an update on my trailer. I've been waiting forever on it. It was supposed to be 90 days, and we're well past 90 days now, but the trailer has had some progress made on it. The fella messaged, it's this Fish Texas that's making the trailer. He messaged me earlier this week. There's a fish, here it is, I was reeling in. He sent me a picture. The trailer is completed. It was supposed to go get painted, I believe, yesterday. And get painted and whatnot. He said he has to do another trailer after mine is completely finished. And my trailer and the other one that he's building after mine is going to be on the same shipment. He said he's got one going to New York, and shipping on these trailers is so ridiculous. So I think they're putting it on the same truck. So they'll come up to Tennessee, drop mine off, and then go up to New York, or vice versa, however it works out. But he said he was hoping to have it to me by the end of the month, and I was like, well, here's the thing. I've got this trip planned down to the Keys, and of course I'm not going to change it because we done booked that week. And again, this trailer, it was supposed to be done in October. And now we're already looking at the end of November before getting it, and possibly December now, since I can't be home to sign for it. So I was like, look, you know, I've got this trip planned. I'm not going to be there to take delivery of this trailer. I said I should be home sometime there first week of December, but I don't have a definitive home day. I mean, if I'm on a good bite or something, I don't want to have to rush home. I mean, my plan is, we're checking out that Saturday in the Keys, and I'm dropping the girlfriend off there at the airport, but If the weather looks good, I may stay another day or two. I don't know. And again, this trailer is supposed to be done in October, so it's not, I'm not, you know, look, I understand people get behind and whatnot. He was already 90 days behind when I paid my deposit. But now that we're even further behind, I'm not going to inconvenience myself even more, you know, to help make things easier on him. Like, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mess up my trip over it. But the good news is, we're in the home stretch with the trailer. It's built. It's hopefully by now painted. We're just waiting on delivery. So I'm hoping to have it early December at the latest. And so I'd like to go ahead and get this new Bonafide kayak, get it rigged out with rod holders and be ready to go as soon as I get that trailer. And I already let it be known to my channel members, because I'd had one of my channel members, Larry, had asked me to post my Hobie for sale to channel members before I made it available to the general public, because he was interested in buying it. Now, he said he was going to talk to his wife about it. I haven't heard anything more back from him since then. I may have by the time this video comes out. I'm filming this on November 8th, which is, I'm not very far ahead on videos right now because of my illness and losing so much time. But nevertheless, I am a little bit ahead, so you're probably seeing this, I think, 15th or 16th. It's about a week later. So I may have heard from him by now, but the Hobie Pro Angler kayak that I've fished out of the last few years, it will be available by the time you're seeing this video. So if you're interested in it, I'm looking to get $2,200 for the kayak and the trailer. I'd like to sell it as a package deal, although I am willing to break it up if you want one or the other. There's no fish. Oh, he spit it. So anyway, my Hobie that you've seen in the videos, it won't have the accessories on it. The motor has been spoken for. One of the guys in our tournament club is going to buy the motor. I'm taking the graph off, which you may not want the graph anyway, because I can't get the damn live scope working. I couldn't for the tournament, so it may be busted. I don't know. Something's wrong with it. So anyway, even regardless, it's coming off anyway. And then my power poles that I use for the carp fishing, those are coming off. So you're basically getting the bare hull Hobie kayak, the pedals, and the trailer. So $2,200, which is, I think it's a fair deal. The kayak's been used. It's been used hard. It's not perfect. The skeg line's broke. So if that's important to you, you're going to have a hard time probably fixing it. I can't figure out how to fix it. But when I'm catfishing, I like the skeg down, so I just leave it down. You just can't retract it, it's all. You can either take it completely off or leave it down. Or find a dealer that's worth a damn and have them fix it. Now, the two dealers I have here are in East Tennessee, neither one of them worth a damn. They can't fix anything. They're happy to sell you a kayak. They can't fix nothing. They're both just like, oh, I ain't never done that before. You might look around on YouTube and find a video, see how you can do it yourself. Well, dumbass, I'm like, you know, if I could find a video on how to do it, I'd already done it without having human interaction. I come here because you're supposed to be a dealer and know how to fix stuff. So anyway, I can't figure out how to run the pulley cord in there. So anyway, that's part of it. The bottom of the hull, it's got its normal scratches and whatnot. I've added plastic to the front because it's taken a beating on the boat ramps through the years. Concrete boat ramps and plastic hulls just don't mix. So I've plastic welded scrap plastic on there to build that back up. And so it's functional. It's actually more functional than what a new one's going to be because I've added more plastic on there, but it doesn't look particularly good. Cosmetically, it doesn't look the best. But I have cleaned it up. I've washed it. Looks like a brand new kayak again. There's fish. It's a 2017 model. I bought it in 2019. So I've used it for 5 years. It's had a lot of trips on it. If you're wanting a perfect kayak, this ain't it. But it's reasonably priced, I feel like. A new one's around $5,000. So this one you're getting the kayak and the trailer. If I sold the trailer separately, I'd probably get $400 or $500 just for the trailer. So I feel like it's a pretty good deal for somebody. Bad time of year to be selling a kayak. In the fall and winter months, you're just not going to get premium value. If I didn't need the carport space, I would wait until spring to even try to sell it. But right now I have my Hobie kayak and trailer. I've got my Old Town kayak and trailer. I've got this kayak, which I've got a cart for now, and my lawnmower. And we're about to have the Bonafide and potentially in my other trailer coming. So I need to clear out space. I've got nowhere to put all this stuff. So if I can find somebody willing to buy it now, I'm just willing to cut them a better deal. I'm sure in the spring I could probably easily get $2,600 out of this package deal. But try to get 22 now. See if I have any takers. I'm out of space. This kayak here, this Hobie Lynx, I showed my channel members this, but I ain't filmed nothing at home to show y'all this. Oh man, this one ate it. He got this thing choked down there, didn't you, buddy? Let's see if we can get you out here. You got, oh, he got it deeper than I thought. I thought we was going to be able to get that out. Well, we did, but he was bleeding a little bit. That bluegill there is going to be an easy meal for a bass here in a couple minutes. Or a catfish. But anyway, I built a cart. Well, I didn't say I built it. Well, I guess technically I did because I had to put it together. What I done, I went to Harbor Freight and I bought a cart, a utility cart. Boy, here's another one that's ate it kind of deep. Oh, I see it right there. It ain't, this one ain't as deep as the other one. We're not going to hurt this one. There you go, bluegill. We've caught a bunch of fish again today. Even with me piddling around with that 3-inch Gulp and not catching anything, we've still managed to catch a bunch of fish with the 1-inch. But I went to Harbor Freight and I bought a utility cart. It's a plastic cart with wheels. I think it's 4 foot long and I think 24 or maybe 30 inches wide. And I put some pool noodle around the top of it. And now for this Hobie Lynx, I set it on the cart. And it's the perfect height to my truck bed. So like I can roll that cart right up to the bed of my truck, slide the kayak off onto it. When I get home, back right up to the carport, pull the kayak right off onto that cart. I can roll it around my carport there, get it out of the way. If I need to access one of the other kayaks or the mower or something. And so, it's really working out. It was kind of pricey for what it was. It was $129. But it didn't take very long to put together. It's got a top tray and a bottom tray. So I'm putting the kayak on top, obviously. And the bottom tray, I'm just storing like pedal drive and cooler net, stuff that I'll be using in this kayak. Just put it there on the bottom. That way everything's together. So it's really worked out. Again, pricey for what it is, but it's a good size for this kayak. I thought initially I would put a piece of plywood over the top of it and screw it down onto that top tray. But after just putting pool noodles around the edges of it, I'm like, man, the kayak sits perfectly on here. So that's what I'm gonna go with on. I'm just gonna leave the pool noodle. Yeah, it really worked out for this kayak is so lightweight. It's gonna be so easy at the beach, getting this thing around. Even just, I mean, pulling this thing, I gotta go up a hill here from the water to back to the truck when I leave today. It's a little bit of a hassle. You gotta tilt the kayak on the side to put the wheels in it, to be able to tote it up there. But I mean, just pull it even up a hill because it's only 40 something pounds. It's so lightweight and it feels even lighter. It'll be exhausting today just because I can't hardly breathe, but normal circumstances, like this kayak's just so much easier to get around with. That new Bonafide, it's gonna be boat ramp only. If I don't have a boat ramp, I won't be using it. We're getting into some better bluegill down here now. This one here's a little better. Not 8-inch quality, but I mean, or at least we're getting 6 inches more consistently down through here. That's an improvement. Improvement over what we was getting. Yeah, I just got too many damn kayaks right now, folks. Of all the kayaks I have, or have had in the past, I still say my Old Town Big Water pedal kayak's probably still my favorite out of all of them. And right now it's the kayak I'm fishing out of the least, ironically. I can do everything in that kayak. If I'm putting in a smaller body of water, or a creek, a pond, I could slide it in, I could paddle it if I need to, because it paddles well. The pedal drive, I've talked about, very comfortable for me to pedal long distances. It's light enough weight. If I don't have a boat ramp, I can still, it's not as light as this, obviously, but I can still put it in anywhere I want to. And you can take it anywhere. Freshwater, saltwater. I don't want to drag it through the sand. I'd rather drag this one through the sand, but I can. I've took it to the ocean the last couple of years and done just fine with it. So, I mean, it's very versatile. It's a jack of all trades. It's not particularly great at anything, but it's good at everything. And so that's probably my favorite kayak that I've ever had. This kayak here has potential to be that way, but I think the pedal drive on this one will probably, it's going to deter me from going long distances in it. I missed another fish right there. See what's hanging out around that dock. But yeah, this kayak here definitely has potential. I'm enjoying my time in it. I haven't caught anything big in it yet. I want to take it out. And I thought what my plan was when I got home from South Carolina, I was planning on getting out, trying out the motor right away, and hopefully getting a catfish trip in it. Try to catch something big in it, just see what it'd be like. See how much I'd get towed around and everything. But I've lost the whole damn week here. Not being able to function. I mean, I could have fished even without filming, obviously. I could have done that. I couldn't talk. I was so hoarse and I just couldn't talk this week. But I was like, you know, I'm just going to give my body, if I can't film, I'm just going to give my body a break this week and just try to rest more. Not that I've really had a lot of energy to do anything. So I didn't get out here in it. Hopefully this next week I'm going to feel better and we'll get some more trips. One of my concerns, y'all don't really care about this, but it does kind of affect you in a way. I'm concerned I'm going to get off schedule on my videos. I've had a consistent schedule really from, I guess, about February on this year. The snowstorm back in January obviously threw me off. I lost some time there, and so I got off schedule. But since then, I've been on a consistent routine, and I was hoping to continue that. And so far, I'm still on that schedule. But here's the thing: when I go down to Florida, I'm going to be away from home for probably at least 10 days, for sure, maybe longer, but at least 10 days. I don't think I'm going to be able to upload down there because of the internet speed being so slow. And that means in order to keep from disrupting our schedule, I have to be several videos ahead prior to leaving. And with me missing pretty much this whole week of filming, and it's a shame too, because we've had good weather this week. We've had really good weather. It's been comfortable temperatures, no wind, like it's been perfect. And I've just missed the whole damn week. So here's another bass. Oh, largemouth. Tiny little largemouth. Oh, small thing. Anyway, I've missed so much time this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get myself far enough ahead to not have a disruption. We'll see. We'll see. It depends if I feel better and can catch fish next week. We'll certainly have a chance at it, but with them dropping the water level around here, it's not affecting us today doing this style of fishing, but it may throw the catfishing off a little bit. And I was kind of hoping to maybe carp fish tomorrow. See if I could get some carp and buffalo, assuming I feel like it. But with the water being down a foot or so right now, the place I would ideally want to fish is going to be, it's shallow anyway. And now it's going to be even more shallow. It may have pulled them fish out. I don't know. So I don't know if I'll do, even if I go, I don't know if I'll do any good. It's kind of the great unknown, folks. I pray, if as long as I feel okay tomorrow, I'm gonna at least try to go, just to get out of the house. I think being outside is just being out in nature. It's not sunny right now; it's kind of cloudy today, but still, just getting out in the sun, breathing some fresh air. Even though the air in my house is purified now. But you know what I mean, just fresh air, sunlight, it does the body good. What is that going, there's something going down the road up there or something. Yeah, we may end up having a little bit of a disruption, folks, there at the end of November, depending on how much I'm able to fish. When I go catfishing again, can I catch bait? Because I ain't tried to catch skipjack since before I left for South Carolina, and I wasn't doing any good then. So I don't know. I don't know about the bait situation. I know we're catching a bunch of bluegill here, but it's not really a good catfish bait in my opinion. Here where I fish anyway. It's normally a little better in South Carolina, although I didn't catch a fish on bluegill all week over there. All my best fish came on perch. White perch. I finally got on them, but I had a hard time catching them too. I don't know why. They're normally so easy to catch. I had a hard time catching them, but finally the day before the tournament, I got on a school of them. And I got enough for the tournament. Not that it really mattered on tournament day since I didn't get but one fish, but still my best fish over there. And I got some good fish on that trip. Not many of them, but I got some good ones, the ones I got. But they come on white perch. They were smaller perch. I just cut the tail off, cut some slits in them, dragging them. My best fish was dragging. Couldn't catch nothing on the suspended bait. I tried anchor fishing, didn't do any good doing that. So it was just dragging baits, trying to just cover water. That one fish I got on the pre-fishing day, though, man, it was a good one. Smacked me right in the face. Got me. Tail slapped me. Just, I was hung. I pulled it free, reeling it in, and the bass got it. There he is. He worked himself free. Saved me the trouble. Man, we're catching all these bass through here all of a sudden. I wonder if we shouldn't switch back to the 3-inch for a little while. I need to switch this Gulp out anyway. Let's throw the 3-inch again for a minute. Just for a few minutes. We are catching a bunch more bass, it seems like. Let me back us up. It'll either work out or it won't. We'll eventually catch something on this rod. It'll eventually happen. Something was nipping me right then. Them bluegill biting at the tail. I guarantee you we could sit here and catch 50 more bluegill on that 1-inch Gulp. You just get, I mean, that 1-inch size, it's just such a good size for action. Like if you want to just get a bunch of bites, and that's what I want when I go ultralight fishing. I want to catch a bunch of fish. You're going to get a bunch of bites. This 3-inch, you're going to eliminate, I mean, you're going to get like, a little like that cast there, we're getting nipped a little bit, but they're not hooking up. Those fish would have hooked up on the 1-inch. So it just depends. You want quality or you want quantity? You will get some good quality on the 1-inch. Maybe not necessarily every trip or a bunch of good quality fish every trip, but you get them. 3-inch, it's got to be better quality to even have a chance at it. We'll throw it for a few minutes here anyway. I just like to just catch one fish on it, just see what it's like. See the bend in the rod. See what it feels like. I can tell, I mean, it's definitely a heavier action. Oh, one followed it right there. He followed it up as a bluegill. I can tell just by holding the rod, though, it's definitely a significantly heavier, I mean, it's a light action, but significantly heavier than the ultralight rod. Can you believe the post office, though, broke 2 of them? Broke the original and broke the replacement, as that bird was letting us know his presence as he was going by. Broke both damn rods, though. I know my friend Daniel, he runs Catfish Sumo. He's had problems too. He ships his rods in rod tubes, like them hard cardboard rod tubes. And it's like, yeah, I think he's had some PVC tubes too, but nevertheless, he still had problems. He's had problems on Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, he's tried them all. And still, every year, you get a fair number of rods that just get broke in transport. Thought that was a fish for a second. It kind of pulled back, but it must have been a twig. A twig on some brush or something. I guess it's just hard to ship containers that are that long. They're not very big around and they're not heavy, but they're just long. And so I guess probably loading in and out of trucks on forklifts and stuff, it probably Things happen. It's hard to believe it happened. Two rods in a row at the same location. Made it all the way to Knoxville. Both times. Does something tap me? I kind of want to, we put this 3-inch down, I'm going to circle back through here again. So we're getting so many taps on this thing. I know there's a bunch of fish we could catch on that 1-inch. We'll throw it up here past this dock. And then we'll circle around with the 1-inch again. And that's just a decision you got to make when you go out. What's important to you? You want to catch a bunch of fish, or you want to catch less fish in more quantity? Same thing when you go catfishing. I typically use larger baits, hand-sized baits most of the time. I use bigger hooks. But if you use smaller baits and smaller hooks, you could certainly get a lot of them fish that just sit there and tap. At our larger catfish baits when we're out there, we would catch those fish if we had smaller baits and smaller hooks. You get more action. That ain't what I want when I go out there. I want to get action when I go catfishing, but I'm trying to catch bigger fish too. So, you know, I'm not out there with the smaller hooks and smaller baits. When I go ultralight fishing, though, it's the exact opposite. I'm wanting a bunch of action, so I want to use the smaller bait. Unless I am specifically targeting bass, which I do sometimes. I haven't this year. I haven't fished a single bass tournament this year. I just never got around to it. Our catfish tournament schedule, between the tournaments and the pre-fishing, it just took so much of my time, along with some other trips I had planned. I didn't have time for bass fishing this year. But when I do this technique right here a lot. I don't oftentimes throw in this kind of place. I like them bluff walls. I like real rocky areas. Rocky areas with steep drops. This ticket right here is, or this technique right here is the ticket. What I was trying to say. My brain still ain't working right. I have been stupid lately. I mean, I've just said and done stupid things. I don't know why. It's just part of the sickness, I guess, or the Benadryl maybe, the last couple days. It's like my brain's just, I ain't thinking properly. It's weird. It pisses me off, though. I want my body to function. I know I take good care of myself. I try to. I'm in good shape. I eat pretty healthy overall. Cut back, way back on the junk food. Cut way back on the Cokes. I went from having a Pepsi with dinner every night. And now I might have one or two a week. Usually only if I go out somewhere. Like this week, I haven't had one. I had a Coke the night we ate dinner with the guys there in South Carolina after the tournament. I had a Coke then. Boy, I set the hook on it. I thought we had a fish, and it's a branch. Well, I haven't had one since I've been home. So I've cut way back on that stuff, but when my body don't work right, it pisses me off. Pull that out. Let's circle back around, hit this area again with the 1-inch. We've got a bunch of taps on this thing, just smaller fish nipping at it. Let's throw the 1-inch through there and catch all them fish that was nipping. But today is actually what I consider my Independence Day, y'all. November 8th, 2007. I took my first step after crippling myself in a car accident. I wrecked my truck wrapped it around a tree. And I broke my hip and pelvis and some ribs and lacerated spleen. I told all that story before on one of these. I won't hash it out again for regular viewers that have already heard this. But I crippled myself, basically, and I was out of commission for a good while. I had the wreck was on August 11th, and I couldn't bear weight on my left side, on my left leg, until November 8th. That's when they cut me free to start bearing weight on it. So I was kind of walking around. I was using a walker to walk with up to that point, and November 8th, 2007, I had my appointment, another follow-up with my orthopedic surgeon, and I took my first step in his office up there. And I remember it was weird, honestly. It felt weird because I hadn't put any weight on my left leg in almost 3 months. And so I guess my foot, I remember my foot, it felt weird. Like I didn't have any pain when I took that step, but my foot was like extra sensitive. I guess because it hadn't been walking in all that time. So it was very weird. And I remember my leg was just kind of dead. I mean, I'd been doing physical therapy, non-weight bearing exercises and stuff that had me doing, but it was just, my leg was weak. It was very weak. And so we got out of there, and I was kind of discouraged with how I felt after taking that first step. I don't know what I was expecting, but I got home, I was kind of discouraged, but I ended up, I rehabbed very quickly after that. They had told me I was going to have a limp. I was going to have chronic pain. I was going to need a hip replacement within a few years. That's what they told me. But I rehabbed very quickly. I never had any pain. There was a fish messing with us. I pulled it out of his mouth. But I didn't have any pain. I've never developed arthritis in my hip joint. Haven't needed a hip replacement. I don't have a limp. I'm normal. Once I got my strength back, I bounced back pretty quickly. Once I was able to bear weight and start walking, I bounced back very quick. But that first step after that accident was on November 8th, 2007. I was 25. What a difference all these years have made, you know. I was thinking about that the other day. Standing there looking in the mirror, brushing my teeth, and I was like, 25-year-old Justin, at that point in time, was still crippled. Still didn't have any hope that I was ever going to live a normal life, at least normal as I had known it prior to the accident. If 25-year-old Justin that was crippled and just depressed and discouraged, if he could see me now, being able to essentially fish for a living. It's not entirely true. Nobody pays me to go fishing. I get paid to make fishing content. So, tomato, tomato. But still, I get to do what I want. I'm my own boss. I get to do what I want. I'm out of nursing completely. Have been for a few years. At this point, I'm never going to have to go back to nursing. I mean, I've kept my license active. I just, for some reason, wanted to. I don't have any desire to at this point. But I could at some point in the future. But man, 25-year-old Justin would be really impressed with 42-year-old Justin. I think he'd be proud. life really turned out a lot different for me than what I ever anticipated when I was going through that mess at age 25. So, whatever you're going through out there, whatever hard times you're personally experiencing, just know that what you are today, it's not what you're going to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. You know, things change, sometimes for better, sometimes for the worse, but even if things look bleak for you right now, if it's not looking good, the final score is not decided yet. You know, you don't know how the game's going to end. Things could turn around for you in a much more positive manner than whatever it is you're going through that maybe has you down and out. It did for me. I remember, I had 2 different orthopedic surgeons, and both of them told me that I wasn't ever going to be normal again. You know, I wasn't going to walk normal. I was going to have a limp. The way my hip broke, the head of my femur went through the acetabulum, which is your actual hip bone. Normally, when you hear somebody broke their hip, you know, elderly people, they fall, they break their hip. That's what they say. Grandma got a broke hip. Granddad tripped and fell, broke his hip. Most of the time, it's not their actual hip that breaks. It's called a broken hip, that's what they say, but it's actually the head of the femur. That's the part that breaks. The hip bone is usually pretty strong. But my situation, I guess because I was young and healthy and had strong bones, the impact, this is a better fish. Strip some drag, that's another bass. No, this is a perch. This is a perch. Come here, perchy. Get in that net. Yes, folks, add that down for a different species, and that's a big one too. Look at that. I rarely catch a yellow perch, but we've got one here today. I'll be doggone. Boy, if I had my live bait bucket, you talk about an awesome live bait, this is an ideal size, man. I could take him. If I get to go carp fishing tomorrow, throw out a catfish rod. Do you want to do that? You want to take him? We'll throw out, if I go carp fishing tomorrow, we'll throw out a catfish rod. Let's do that. Let's take him with us. I got my cooler here. Let's throw him back there. Yeah, if I end up fishing tomorrow, let's go carp fishing. I'll just take a catfish rod with me. What are the odds of that, man? I'll never catch perch. I did get one recently, but I bet you I still probably haven't caught 20 of them things my whole life. That was a pretty good sized one too. That's one of the bigger ones that I've ever caught. We have them here, they're just not as common as in some other places. The ones we have usually don't get them as big. I should have put him, I am going to do that. I'm going to put him on the board. I want to see how long he is, because he was pretty good size. I should have done that before I put him up. Watch me drop him, getting him out of the cooler or something here. That'd be a par for the course, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's put him on our board here. 11 inches. Just over 11 inches. He might graze 11 1/4 there. Nice. Nice perch. Okay. Well, another species to the list. We've got now bluegill, largemouth, smallmouth, channel cat, and perch today. That's a pretty good day, folks. That is a pretty good day when you can get that many different species. And that's what you get with the ultralight, man. You just get a bunch of fish, a bunch of variety of fish, and you're going to occasionally bust a big one on it. We could have thrown that 3-inch out here all day. Probably got a handful of fish. We would have caught something. We wouldn't have got skunked on that 3-inch all day. But we wouldn't have caught nearly as many. And I want to catch a bunch of fish today. What was I talking about? Oh, the hip injury. So yeah, when grandma falls, breaks her hip, it's normally the head of the femur, which, imagine your hip bone, your leg bone, your femur, has the ball in there and it sets in that socket, right? And so typically when grandma breaks her hip, it's this part right here. They break it around the neck of the femur. And so they'll cut that off, something hit us right then. That rod sitting between my legs. But when you do a hip replacement, that's the part they're replacing the ball. In my situation, I guess because I was young and healthy, and the impact hit the driver's side door, nail in the tree, it come right in on my door. The head of my femur knocked a hole through my acetabulum, the actual hip bone. And so they put some screws in to kind of put the bone back in place there. And they put a plate in to stabilize my pelvis, because I think I broke it in 4 or 5 places, my pelvis. But the way that hole was in the bone and the way the femur sit, that's why they thought that I wasn't ever going to walk normal again, because it was going to be just the bone going kind of into that hole a little bit. It was going to cause a limp and pain and ultimately cause arthritis to develop, and I was going to need a hip replacement. But it just didn't. I was very fortunate. They did an amazing job in the surgery, and I just never needed it. I never had the chronic pain. I don't have the limp. Never gotten arthritis. Haven't needed the hip replacement, and I rehabbed pretty quickly, all things considered. I mean, it took a while. It took a few weeks to get my strength back, to get a normal gait again, I guess, if you will. But once I was able to take that first step, November 8th, 2007, I was able to start really going hard at physical therapy, because prior to that, I was just basically able to do non-weight-bearing exercises and stuff when I'd go to physical therapy. But after I was able to start bearing weight, we were able to really attack it and start getting my strength back. And, you know, it was such a change in attitude for me when I started getting my strength back and I wasn't having the pain. And once I got my strength back enough that I was kind of walking normal and I wasn't having the limp, I was like, man, I've got a chance of being normal again. Like, you know, because I mean, I was 25 and young, healthy, independent prior to the wreck. And then you go through that and you're like, well, you know, they're telling you you're never going to walk normal again, and kind of going to be a gimp and whatnot. I mean, it's demoralizing as a young man. You know, I mean, it's not like it's not like I'd gotten a death sentence or anything, and I was certainly lucky to be alive after the wreck. But still, it's for your state of mind. It's I don't know. I mean, it was a really hard time for me experiencing that. The emotional side of it, I guess you'd say. The loss of hope of ever being kind of normal again. The loss of dignity, just because, I mean, after the wreck, I mean, I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was bedbound there after the surgery. And there's so much pain, I couldn't, and of course I had the broken ribs too, which limited my ability to even move my upper part of the body. Because, you know, if you've ever had broke ribs, man, it's brutally painful. Like, you can't do anything without hurting. And so, you know, I'm 25, young and healthy, and then all of a sudden, blink of an eye, this is a pretty bluegill right here. The colors on that one. That's a pretty fish. But young and healthy and independent, living my life. And in the blink of an eye, it's over. Now I'm miserable pain, bedbound, told I'm not ever going to walk normal again. And I've got my mom wiping my ass for me because I couldn't physically do it. I couldn't turn. I couldn't, you know. And so you lose hope. You lose dignity. And it was a really bad time of my life, not just because of the injury, but just the emotional side of things, the mental part of it. You just get depressed. You lose hope. And of course, all the pain meds they got you on, that don't help the cause either, because that stuff messes with your mind and your emotions too. It was just a really bad time of my life. But as I told a story, I told that story months ago, but it's funny how, what I do to my line here. Lord Almighty, I've done it this time. Got that thing all wrapped around my rod tip somehow. I don't know how y'all done that. I sure as hell didn't do it. There we go. It's one of them things. It was a terrible time in my life. It's certainly physically the worst thing I've ever been through. And yet, looking back on it now, certainly couldn't see it. If you'd told me this at age 25, I'd have never believed you. I'd have probably cussed you out. But looking back on it now, that wreck was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And I know that's crazy to say. Going through that much pain and all that, you know, I wouldn't want to do it again, that's for damn sure. But that situation put me on the path that got me where I am today. Because, you know, again, I may be rehashing this story. I'll give you the cliff notes of it here for those of you that have already heard this months ago. But like, you know, that wreck got me to change my life. Leading up to that point, I was paycheck to paycheck. I was in so much debt, chasing the American dream. You know, I had a house, a truck, motorcycle, a boat, toys. I mean, I had it all. And I couldn't afford any of it. It was paycheck to paycheck. Now, once I was hurt, I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. You know, I couldn't work. I couldn't function. I was out of commission for a while there while I was healing from the injury. Well, guess what? Bill collectors don't give a damn. You know, you owe them money, so you better pay it. And so I had such a traumatic experience from that. Not just the injury, but just the fear of, God, are they going to take my house? If I can't make my mortgage payment, are they going to take my house from me? You know, that fear, that it, you know, I don't want to call it a trauma, but I mean, it is traumatizing in its own way, and it changed me. I was like, I never want to be in this situation again. I don't want to owe anybody anything. I don't want to ever be in this situation where either I can't work or something else is going on that's causing me not to be able to work, and be that fear of losing everything. I don't want to ever be in that way again. And so that's what led me down the path of changing my life. And I had to take on more debt initially. I went back to school. I was working as an LPN at the time. And, you know, with them talking about me needing a possible hip replacement in a few years, and that was still a concern at the time. I thought, well, sure, you know, there's not a lot of desk jobs for LPNs, but as an RN, it would open up a lot more opportunities for me. So I took on more debt initially, went back to school, became an RN, but as soon as I got out, as soon as I graduated and became an RN, I attacked my debt. I got on the Dave Ramsey plan. Somebody gave me his book, Total Money Makeover, and that, I baby stepped my way to financial freedom. I made a lot of sacrifices. You know, the truck, the truck was gone. It was a compact car. The boat was gone. The motorcycle was gone. I sold all that stuff. Got rid of cable TV. Quit using my clothes dryer because I didn't want to pay the extra electricity for it. I hung my clothes out on a clothesline. Like, I made a lot of sacrifices financially and comfort-wise, creature comfort-wise. And I did that. But you know what? Between that and working my ass off, pulling a bunch of overtime, I paid everything off. It took a few years, but I paid everything off. Paid off all my debt, my student loans, my other debt, paid off my house. I paid it all off. And once I got everything paid off, I had freedom again. Not only peace of mind freedom, as we got into the bluegill, but I also had actual freedom. I wasn't beholden to a job anymore. Once you pay off all your debt, I'm willing to bet right now, most of you out there watching this video, listening to this video right now, if you itemized all your monthly expenses, so we got another fish, I'm willing to bet most of your money is spent on two things: your mortgage or your rent, whatever, if you're renting or you own, whatever, your housing payment, whether it's rent or mortgage, that's probably your biggest expense, and your vehicle. Those are probably your two big, and food's another big expense nowadays, especially nowadays with food prices where they are. But imagine this, folks. Imagine if you didn't have any debt, if you only had your normal monthly expenses, electric bill, health insurance, car insurance, internet, food, cell phone. Imagine if you only had just your normal recurring monthly expenses, no debt, no mortgage, no car payment, no credit card debt, no student loans. If you were debt-free, just needing money to live, you wouldn't need very much money probably. This is another bluegill right here. He's a little butterball, ain't he? He's almost round. But once I got out of debt for me, like, I suddenly had freedom again because I didn't need that much money. And so that allowed me to take time off of work because at that point I was travel nursing. And so oftentimes between contracts, I would take a little time off, enjoy myself, live a little. That extra time turned into being able to fish more because that's what I wanted to do, right? That's what I like doing. That turned into filming videos for YouTube, just a stupid hobby. Never thought would amount to anything. And look at me now, getting to do this YouTube for a living, which led me to get away from nursing. And all of that was put into place. The first domino to fall to get me where I am today was having that damn wreck. Because if that wreck doesn't happen, yeah, I wasn't happy before the wreck. I was in a ton of debt. This fish is pulling right here, man. Boy, since a hitting it and getting it, buddy. I'm curious to see this one. That's another bluegill. It's damn near round. He's almost the same color as the other one, but he's as tall as he is long. Look at that thing, the shape of him. He's not very long, but he's damn near round. We've caught a bunch of fish down there today, man. This place is loaded with bluegill. But that first domino to fall to get where I am today was that wreck. That wreck caused me to be able to, prior to that, I was miserable. You know, I kept buying things, trying to make myself happy, whether it be a truck, motorcycle, whatever. I kept buying things. I couldn't afford the item, but I could afford the payment. And I was paycheck to paycheck, just making, minimum payments on stuff. I didn't have money to even put, there wasn't extra spending money per se. Everything was going to bills, to debt. And having that wreck caused me to really reevaluate things and be like, all of these toys, these things I don't need that I keep buying to try to make myself happy, they're actually making me unhappy because I'm saddled with the debt of them, which causes me to have to work more just to try to get by to make the ends meet. And so I kind of had that epiphany because I had the wreck and was faced with the potential of, possibly getting behind on bills and losing a house or something like that. I just didn't ever want to be in that situation again. And so that really led me into learning how to manage money because the thing is, folks, and maybe y'all are different, but my situation, nobody ever taught me about money. You don't teach you that in school. You don't learn anything. The only thing you learn about money growing up is from family and friends. And so if your family and friends ain't good with money, you're just going to follow the same path they do. And, and so after the wreck, I educated myself. The Dave Ramsey book, huge help. And it's so simple. A lot of people don't like Dave Ramsey, his religious beliefs, his political beliefs. Look, I get it. Everybody to each their own. But when it comes to getting yourself out of debt, man, there ain't nobody better than Dave Ramsey. You follow his steps, you get out of debt. I did it. I'm walking, talking, living proof. And it changed my life. And it opened up, Dave Ramsey always says, live like no one else so that later on you can live like no one else. That's one of his sayings. It's in the book 1,000,000 times. And this one here is almost yellow, folks. Y'all can't probably see it because we're in the shade right now. But that's truly the situation with me. He flung the gulp off. That's truly the situation with me. For a short period of time in my life, it didn't feel short at the time as I was working all them extra hours and overtime and eating peanut butter and jelly because I wasn't eating out anymore and drying my damn clothes on a clothesline instead of using the clothes dryer. Like, it didn't seem like it at the time. But looking back on it now, I was like, man, it was such a short period of time in my life to make the change that has allowed me the freedom and flexibility to live the life that I have now, where I can pretty much do what I want when I want. Like, that's powerful, And there's something liberating about owning your house. Maybe more so, maybe it's not for everybody, but in my situation, because I was fearful I may lose my house when I was going through my situation there with the injury and not knowing for sure I was ever going to walk normal again at the time. I'm like, man, am I going to lose this place? Like, it was a genuine fear of mine that I might lose my house. I got to slow down my talking. I'm getting out of breath again. It's weird how it just hits me sometimes. Like, I just get more out of breath sometimes than others. But, it done something to me psychologically. And once I paid that last mortgage payment, and after that, you just know, like, nobody can take your house from you. They can't foreclose. As long as I pay my taxes, my property taxes, which I gripe and complain about, but they're not bad. They just raised them recently, but they're still not bad. As long as you pay that, as long as you don't get 3 years behind on your property taxes, nobody can ever take my house from me. And there's something about that. It just feels different. You know, and I can't explain it, and everybody's life and circumstances are different. So maybe if you've not been in a place in your life where you were fearful of losing your home, that maybe it wouldn't be the same for you. I don't know. But I can just speak for myself, and that it changed me. And age 25-year-old Justin, after that wreck happened, miserable pain, not knowing if I'm ever going to walk normal again, if you told that guy, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you, you would have got cussed out. You know, he would have cussed you out. I was wrapped on that damn dock up there. Y'all didn't even tell me about it. But yeah, that was the first domino to fall that led me to this life that I live now, which is pretty good. I'll be the first to admit, it's a pretty good life I live now. And so I say all that. So we got another fish coming in here. I say all that just to try to motivate you, maybe, or maybe give you a little hope that whatever you're going through in life, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bleak the outcome looks, the game's still being played. You don't know the final score. And so even if you're going through a bad time, things may get way better for you. They sure as hell did for me. And I'm not, you know, I'm nothing special, folks. I'm not there's nothing special about me compared to you or anybody else. Like, it's just, it could happen for anybody. I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate. Because, I mean, if I don't rehab my injury the way I did, if I don't bounce back, if I did actually have the limp and the pain and needed the hip replacement, like I don't know how things turn out. I honestly don't know. I don't know where I would be today. So I'm very fortunate in that things turned out how they did. But it's so amazing every time I think about it and I look back. I'm like, that's what started it all. That, the worst time in my life, physically, injury-wise, anything like that, nothing comes close. The worst time in my life is actually, in hindsight, the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it's crazy that something like that could be both at the same time. It could be the worst thing that ever happened to you and the best thing that ever happened to you. But that's where it is with me. And it could very well be with you too if you're going through a hard time right now. So I guess if this YouTube thing eventually stops working out for me, I'll just be Tony Robbins or Tony Robinson, motivational speaker, whatever the hell his name is. You know who I'm talking about. I don't think I can. Tell me that Tony Robbins or Tony Robinson, whatever his name is. Oh, he does them seminars. They last. He'll talk for days. I'm like, hell, I can barely talk for 2 or 3 minutes right now and get myself out of breath. I feel like I've done pretty good today, though. Overall, it hasn't been easy for me, I won't say, as far as talking goes. But at least I've got my voice back for the most part. I'm not hoarse. I think just not having a bunch of snot drainage is helping a lot. That Benadryl's helped a lot, dry me up. Another bluegill. I ain't gonna go much further, y'all. Let me turn the camera around here. You can see the dock over yonder there. As we've had to skip around a big portion of where I wanted to fish because of the leaves. We've gotten farther away than what I really wanted to go. Of course, the water's clean here. Maybe I can actually use this motor. Help get me back, keep from getting so out of breath. I can't believe, I mean, there's been so many fish today. If we had just fished the Gulp, I mean the 1-inch Gulp, the whole time, and not spent the time throwing the 3-inch, we could have probably got near 100 fish again today. I don't know how many we're at. If Fishing Key Largo, if he watches, I'm sure he'll count them up for us. But we've got a bunch of bites today. It's been a good day. I tell you, if I have a bad time catfishing like I did in the tournament, it's really helpful to me to come out and do an ultralight trip, because you just get so many bites and so much action. It's just a confidence boost. It makes you, it just kind of revitalizes you. I mean, I have bad trips, and I know, I mean, it's good days and bad. That's how fishing is. But when you have especially that tournament, man, it was such a kick to the gonads. Finishing next to last place, losing out on Angler of the Year. And all I had to do, I mean, it took 105 inches to win. That's all it took to win. I mean, if I just got a limit, if I could have had my 40 and a half, 40 and 3/4 inch fish, whatever it was, if I could have just got 2 more fish to go with it, just get a limit, I win Angler of the Year. But one damn bite, one fish all day. 2 30-inch fish. I'd have finished like 4th place. I'd have got Angler of the Year. I just couldn't do it. So it's nice to come home and be back in my own bed again, if nothing else. If you're going to be sick and miserable, you might as well be in your own bed. And get out here today, get a little sunlight, a little vitamin D. Good for the soul, man. Catch a bunch of fish, make me, at least psychologically, believe that I know what I'm doing again by being able to catch a fish. Tomorrow, if I feel like it, I'm going to try to go carp fishing. I just cleaned that kayak. I just washed it. But I kind of want to go do that. I got to figure out what's up with the live scope. I'm not putting it on the new kayaks. I'm not too concerned. Gosh dang it. Nailed that reel on my knee. I'm not too concerned about fixing it quickly, but I hope it's not broke permanently. Like, I hope it's not tore up. May have just been a wire pulled loose or something. It was still dark when I launched that morning. I didn't have time to go back to shore and where I could really get in my hatch and look. So hopefully it's something simple. Hopefully an easy fix. As this bluegill goes flopping around. Where are you going, bluegill? Get on out of here, bluegill. I can't get hold of him. I can't get hold of him. You know what, bluegill? There you go. Go out that way. We showed him, didn't we? We'll get rid of that bluegill one way or the other. Oh, I'm whooped, y'all. Where are we at on time? My camera battery about dead? Well, we're getting close. It normally lasts about 4 hours. I'm probably going to, I think when the camera battery dies today, I'm going to get out of here. Go home and rest before I got to get the cat. Unless my mom can pick up the cat. They ain't called. That's encouraging. If they ain't called, it means they didn't find nothing wrong with the blood work. I think they do them spays and neuters all the time up there. To my knowledge, I mean, I'm sure there's probably been a situation where an animal has died while being neutered, but it's not something common. You don't ever hear about it. I think it's a pretty simple, common procedure that's tolerated very well by animals. I was just concerned with that particular cat because he was so frail, but he's really packed on some weight the last couple weeks, so I think he's going to be okay. Biggest thing probably be tonight getting Daphne to leave him the hell alone. Daphne's terrified of the other cat, though. Midnight just runs the place now. And if it wants Daphne's dog bed, it'll root Daphne out and take the dog bed. Like, it is not fearful of Daphne. Daphne's outweighs that cat by 50 pounds, and it ain't the least bit scared. Daphne's she's a chicken. She don't snap back when that cat's boxing her jaws. Daphne runs. I'll have to keep her away from Marty tonight. They said them stitches they put in dissolve, so I don't have to go back up there to the vet anymore. I may never get Midnight up there to the vet. I couldn't believe, I really thought he would go in that crate easily. Boy, I mean, I'd take my shirt off and show you this gash I've got from the claw mark, but hell, all your girlfriends and wives they'd be leaving your ass when they saw me without a shirt on. What's this? Oh, it's a stick. Oh, that thing was pulling back, buddy. I thought we had something good on right there. Well, we know there's a brush pile right here on this dock, don't we? Let me back up and throw over there again. Yeah, we just found, we don't need no live scope now to know there's a brush pile there. We just pull up half of it. Terrible cast. Yeah, I'm gonna make a few more casts. I think I'm gonna maybe work up here past this next dock, and I think I'm gonna call it quits on the day, folks. I've ventured farther away from the launch than what I thought. I had a fish right there. I'm farther away from it than what I want to be, and I'm about whooped. It's so frustrating. I want my body to work like it should. I don't know why it won't. Probably a good thing that I am in as good a shape as what I'm in. Physically, though, or it'd probably be affecting me more. I just don't understand why I can't get so winded. It don't make sense to me. We'll persevere through it, though. I'll bounce back. Hope I'm just completely healed by the time we go to Florida, though. That's the big thing. I don't want to mess up my trip. I'm going regardless, but I don't want to mess it up. I want to be able to enjoy myself down there, and I may go out a long ways. Big shark tows me out. I may be 2 or 3 miles. That happened there a couple of years ago. Something big, never did see it. Towed me out 2 or 3 miles. But I think this kayak's going to be a much better experience down there. Here's another fish. Definitely going to be easier off the water. Easier to park, easier to get through the sand. Everything's gonna be easier down there. Even like, take Lake Ida, for instance. I mean, there's a ramp that I use there, but it's oftentimes busy with boats and jet skis and stuff like that. So this kayak, I'll just be able to pull up there kind of in the beach area there at the park. And I won't have to wait in line for the ramp at all. And if I end up going to the Everglades, I can just launch there in them canals easily. I won't have to, on the side of the road, be able to put this thing in. As long as there ain't no alligators or something. I don't want to be messing with them. There's a bluegill around this dock right here. Hey, we've had bluegill all up and down through here. Man, we ain't been nowhere yet where there ain't been bluegill. This whole stretch through here has been amazing. Now, we're not getting great quality. You know, we're not catching 8-inch bluegill and up, but just the number of them, we've caught a bunch of fish today. 1 million bluegill, some largemouth, little tiny smallmouth, channel cat, and a perch. It's a hell of a day, folks. It's a hell of a day. All possible when you're throwing an ultralight and a tiny plastic bait. I ain't trying to sell you on the Gulp, but I am trying to sell you on an air purifier. I got to remember to try to put the link in the video description. Y'all have to forgive me if I forget. Time I get home, who knows if I'll even be thinking about it. But I'm impressed with that air purifier. It's only been one day, but I'm impressed with it. The Texas Power Paddle motor, not so much. Probably my last day using this thing. Love the concept of it. The concept is great. The execution, not so much. Poorly executed concept. They got to do a better job, because anything that's floating on the surface, because that motor's so low under the kayak, you're going to suck all that debris up, the leaves, the grass, anything. It needs a better design. It needs a better way to not get all bogged down with that stuff. All right, I'm gonna make a couple more casts here at this boat ramp over here. Now I'm gonna call it quits on the day, folks. I'm gonna go home and rest, and eat a bite, wait on the vet to call about old Martin Luther Kitty. I think y'all never saw Marty before he started putting on weight again, but my channel members that seen him when he was all pitiful, they're gonna be real impressed when I do the next channel member video at how different he looks. He's really bouncing back quick. There we go. I knew I'd get one over there. Well, that's a tiny fish. That's a pretty tiny one to end the video on, ain't it? I don't want to end it on that. Let's see if we can find one slightly bigger over there. Let me just make a couple. I said a couple. Let me just make a couple more here, folks. Let's see if we can upgrade over that last one there. I do hate that they're dropping the water though right now. It's that time of year, but It always seems to throw the catfish bite off for a little while when as the water's dropping. Certainly hasn't affected the ultralight fishing today. Hasn't affected it at all. We've still been getting a lot of action here, but for some reason it just messes up the catfish bite for me. I wasn't on a good bite before I left, so I was just struggling. The water change there with the hurricane and difficulty in catching bait. Like, I was just having a hard time before I left. I wasn't doing any good. Apparently my slump continued over in South Carolina, although I did get some big fish over there. I had big fish caught. I just didn't get a lot of them and didn't get them when it mattered. When everything was on the line, I choked. Ryan got it done. He won Angler of the Year, well deserved on his part. So I raised his arm in victory. I took my beating. I talk a lot of trash. And in a situation like that where I choke, I expect to get it back, so I'm more than willing to take it. If you're going to dish it out, you got to be willing to take it. Here I was just hoping to catch one more fish, a little bigger than the last one, to end this video on. Go out on a high note today, and these fish ain't having nothing of it. Normally I'm stubborn enough, I just keep after it until I got it, but I'm kind of ready to go home. Sorry, I've been a Debbie Downer today. Some days you got it, some days you don't, folks. And I just ain't had it this week. I ain't felt like myself. It's throwing off everything. I'll get back to normal soon, though. You can count on that. I'll be my normal self here before long. I just don't normally get sick. I just don't. I'm not the type of person that gets sick. All right, one more cast, and then I quit regardless. Whatever happens, happens. Will a fish come through for me? It's not going to happen, folks. These fish don't give a damn. They're not even going to send me a get well soon card. That's how little these fish care about me. All right. Well, as the kids used to say back in the 90s, I'm Audi 5000. I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to go home and rest. Wait on them to call me with information about this cat. Again, folks, I'm sorry. I ain't been myself today. I'm just, I don't know. I don't do sickness well because I never get sick. Working in the ER as long as I done, I think because you're exposed to everything all the time, you just don't get sick. I never did. I never get sick. No, I don't get sick at all. So it's different. It's weird, but I'll bounce back, folks. I promise you that. I think I'm gonna try to run this motor though. I'm gonna try to run this motor as long as I can until we bog down with leaves. Get myself back to the car. Let me crank it up on high. You hear how loud that is? You hear how loud that is? That's awful. It'll move you about 3.5 miles an hour. Not very quickly, but it moves. It's just really loud. Way louder than I'd hoped. If you're gonna be slow, at least be quiet. And it's loud, but I'm gonna run it, try to get back to the car if I can get through these leaves, and hopefully the next video may be a carp video if I go tomorrow. If not, it may be a catfish video next week sometime, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for coming with me today and dealing with me while I'm sick. I'll see you next time.